Here we go. Uh, topic one that we'll use. Conservatives have been continuously demonized by the left for flirting with taking down the government through an armed rebellion. But is this any different from? Oh, actually, before I should like explain the rules for the new people. We got new people here. Let me do that. 1 second. All right. All right. So we're gonna have multiple rounds, right? And at the you'll introduce a question like I was just about to. At the end of the round, the audience, our very kind audience, will vote, yes, vote on which of you to that they want to stay. Right. So like for the most popular, the people at the bottom will then who get the least amount of votes. Will be an elimination round with the people with the most votes, and they'll decide who to toss. All right, it's pretty simple, not very complicated. We'll whittle it down until we have a winner. So, all right, let's try it again. All right. So, topic one. Conservatives have been continuously demonized by the left for flirting with taking down the government through an armed rebellion. But is this any different from leftists who constantly espouse seizing the means of production? In this area, is the left any better than the right? 45 minutes left on the clock. Go at it.
All right, I want
to completely subjective. It depends on what you think is right or wrong, right? Like if you think that being a leftist and taking down the government is the best thing for the world, then yeah, you're doing the right thing. But if you're a Trump supporter who thinks that making Donald Trump king of America for the next 40 years is the right thing, then, that's your take. I don't know if I agree with violent revolution as a means of actually accomplishing much. Usually what happens when violent revolution occurs, the system collapses because the violence creates a whole system which requires oppression, and then the oppression causes the whole system to collapse in the end anyway. So I think we need to use policy and not overthrowing the system.
I think definitively different issues because when it comes to seizing the means of production, nobody actually voted to put any of these people in their places of power. They were just instituted there via just having more access to capital. Whereas when it comes to having our government, we actually go ahead and choose our elected officials. So when you say I'm going to go ahead and overthrow the government through a violent rebellion, that's basically saying, hey, 84 million people that voted, fuck that. I'm not listening to any of these results. I'm going to go ahead and invalidate all these people's democratic rights. And those are two different things. Also, you can seize the means of production without doing it in a violent manner. You can go ahead and have a company that just ends up being a co-op, in which case, if you're able to go ahead and beat out your competition, you can go ahead and seize the means of production without doing any sort of overthrowing.
That's not what people mean when they say seize the means of production.
No, seizing the means like taking wealth, right? Like,
yeah, it means effectively forcibly confiscating properties and factories and all this other stuff, just like
I think before we just means factories. It's means of production. It doesn't mean personal property. It doesn't mean any of this other shit. It just means
there is no difference.
No, there is
the difference is
we don't want to conflate this with government.
I didn't know Jeff was.
We don't want to
living in his
conflate it with
factories.
government overthrow, though.
Okay, so if
you're conflating government overthrow with overthrowing means of production, which is held by corporations.
Well, no,
right?
it's not
two vastly different things.
Because
but the question is, both sides basically flirt with these.
Okay, so if I may, here's how we frame it. Okay, revolutions aren't inherently positive or negative, and they aren't inherently justified or unjustified. What happens is they are contextual. So what you need to do is look at the context of how revolutions happen and the problems that come up and which groups of people are attempting to through them. So like looking at the lens of the analysis of seizing means production versus like the insurrection. So the insurrection itself is on the basis that the election was stolen. There's a significant amount of fraud that has been shown that is not evidentially true. And so therefore they're trying to overthrow and take and institute their own policy. They're not trying to like necessarily deconstruct the state. What they're trying to do is trying to create their own state and put themselves in charge. However, when we look at like things like seize the means of production, it's the baseline of an evidence that the reality is people in power, people in charge, control like factories and shit, and we think that the workers should own those. However, in order to achieve them, they are the business owners. They're not going to do that. They're not just going to willingly give it most often. So what you do is, okay, if we've pursued every single route other than the revolution itself, then we just have to take it. That's
But
the
there
context of it.
No,
Yeah.
so you
there are
have to
ways
go
to
and
make it
overthrow the
mean-
government, just like what happened every single time.
I mean, so
But
it's
there are
basically
ways to
overthrowing
use
the government with an extra
without-
step, right? Is that what we're saying then?
We're
Basically,
Yeah,
not
it's basically
overthrowing the
overthrowing.
government,
One is
though.
overthrowing the government directly. One is overthrowing the government, but with extra steps. It's the
But
same
we're not
thing.
overthrowing the
But
government.
it's not.
Well,
Why
okay,
is
so-
it?
The question
largest
is that
government.
both sides are basically equally guilty of
No, they
having people that are flirting with the extremes on either side.
No,
Like the
because when we
extremes,
go ahead
the
and
extremists on either side still want the same thing. Like both of them think that the
Okay, we're going
you're
orange
saying
juice
right now,
Is that what
One
we're
has
doing?
the
Orange juice.
power
Right.
to act on that
revolution.
instinct.
like,
Okay, so here's a distinction really quickly. Is that one, the right-wing activists actually went and tried to take the Capitol. The left-wing activists just talk about it, right? There's a big difference between those groups because one actually fucks around.
So what you're saying
Here's
is
the other part of it. Here's the other part of it is revolutions just aren't effective, right? You can go read Chatterworth and Stefan's book, and you can find out that revolutions are just bad at achieving their goal in comparison to reform.
Oh my
That's
God.
absolutely true.
No, hold on.
I can put the graphs on screen if you want. You can look at the pretty graphs and you can see how bad revolution is.
I didn't realize you're only using one brain cell
Yeah, I'm
here.
going to point to one specific revolution in one specific context, and that's absolutely going to prove my point that all revolutions are good and are
Do
better
we all
than
have to
reform.
scream
I
like
said
morons?
I said overall, revolution is significantly better at achieving its aims than reform, right?
All right.
And that's absolutely true. Just because one revolution in one context did something that's pretty good, that's cool, but reform is significantly better at achieving its goals, and it's preferable because you're not fucking killing people.
I agree with that. I'm just not going to say that all revolutions are bad.
Go ahead, give it a try, Dr. K.
Yeah, well, I mean, one, seizing the means of production. One isn't overthrowing the government. We're talking about, industrial and production, which is, almost universally in the United States a private enterprise, not a governmental one. So, that's one thing that needs to be taken into consideration. Two,
comparing
right?
just a statement though isn't the
Nacho
same.
Here, I'm going to keep going, right? Two, the other thing we are trying to do is one group is trying to suppress democracy, right? By, saying the thing that was actually democratic isn't and throwing it off the table. When we're talking about seizing the means of production, what we're saying is we want to increase democracy right now. You have democracy when you're at home and when you have your time off, but when you are at work, you are completely at the behest of your boss who can fire you at will in almost every job in the United States, right? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to increase the democracy you have in your workplace, right? By putting those who are in the workplace in charge of it, right? If all the workers are in charge of the workplace and collectively vote on major decisions at the company place, this is no longer, an authoritarian situation you're in. You now have democratic representation at the workplace and at home. This is I don't see how this is authoritarian.
And
I mean, running through all of that, was
authoritarian. You effectively have to
violent.
outlaw private monetary interactions between individuals in order to make it possible. Number one,
market socialism does allow
you
private
go
market
in,
interactions.
all right, and you steal somebody else's shit is how it's violent. Okay, number one.
That's not necessary.
And that
he's stealing my shit right now in the form of wage theft. So
no, they're not. No, that's not. Okay, that is
wage
no.
Absolute
nonsense. The labor theory value is absolute nonsense. Okay, number one.
Exactly. That hamburger meat generates profit on its own, obviously.
Well, it generates profit because somebody else is willing to buy it.
Well, Chris, give it a try.
Well, yeah, but they need my, labor to make it valuable to them to buy.
And you need the freaking thing in order to make a burger. You need the fry pan. You need the grill in order to make a burger.
Start talking.
Just a moral claim. Sorry.
We'll move past you. Chris, just start talking, please.
Yeah. Well, the difference is one is infinitely more achievable than the other. All it takes for the QAnoners is pull a Game of Thrones and play some wildfire under the Capitol building, and they can easily achieve their means. While seizing the means of production would take the cooperation of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people to take
both
control.
Of those things would.
No, what? Stop.
So
they almost did it.
You're saying Chris.
Let me finish.
Being demonized.
Let me finish.
Chris, please.
these people's goals were just to take over these people, kidnap them, if not kill most of them. They had no real plans afterwards. Let Donald Trump take back control, but they had no real plans afterwards. They just don't like the government, so they want to take it out with no real plans to go forward. While seizing the means of production, there's a whole thing around that, right? There's a whole idea of like taking control of production from all these companies and corporations, and then like giving the control to the workers. And there's ideas, there's a future for that. There's an afterwards, right? But that takes so much more cooperation, and it takes cooperation from, again, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, where one takes only a couple of thousand or just one smart person to take out a whole group of people who are often in the same place at the same time, because the government is centralized while corporations are not in this country.
So before anybody says anything else, I just want to say specifically, it's not giving control, it's the workers taking control. The workers themselves are the people who are doing it.
None of that matters, though. That's what I'm trying to point out. Like the question is, like, conservatives have been continuously demonized by the left for flirting with. So these are people who are flirting with the more extreme ideas, or the more extreme, the extremists in their party. Like, so to conflate the two, like to try to compare, like what happened on the 6th to like just some people running around saying like we should seize the means of productions. Obviously, one can be painted as worse. But I mean, if we're talking about extremists on both sides, and both sides flirting, like those people are flirting with the anarcho-communists, whatever, who are more extreme. Not that all of them are, but just the ones who claim to be this and are more extreme.
Yeah, I reject that idea that it's extreme to
and
want
shoot
democracy
fucking like
in your
President,
workplace.
McKinley or whatever, or like the Haymarket bombing, or like any of these shit.
Well,
like,
hold on.
There's been
years ago, as your
there
prime
has
example.
been. I mean, it doesn't matter though. Like there is extreme left-wing violence, and if you're flirting with those people who are in those circles, who are ready to go run around and do a bunch of crazy shit, who are ready to go light the fucking federal building on fire, that is equally just as bad as anyone who's flirting with or encouraging those who went to like
but one
the
did.
6th and ran up in the building and wanted to like fucking.
So then, like, the response by communists to like that action was like there was like a big tweet by like a guy named Xizzy that floated around, who's like a big like commie influencer, I guess, right? And it was, we shouldn't condemn the people who did the right wing attack on the building because we hope to do something similar someday too. So if you're gonna like pretend that this isn't the case, please don't. And please come on, like if you don't think I'm big on democratic ownership. Don't pretend like it's not radical in the Overton window context of America.
Well, I missed the first part of what you said.
Can we?
When you said to compare the two.
So the problem comes more than anything is whether there's an inherent negativity, and the problem I am having here, Nacho, is you're associating like quote unquote extremism with violence. Extreme ideological perspectives and more like aggressive methods to like take ownership, like factories and shit, doesn't inherently mean it has to resort to violence.
Okay, well, would you call the people that ran into the on the 6th, would you call them right-wing extremists?
The one on the I would call them right-wing extremists because they specifically went with
I'm
violence.
using that term.
No. Extremism like can encompass a portion of violence, but extremism is not inherently violent.
Okay.
Violence is a direct result of
can I rename it or like?
Hold on. Violence is a direct result of not having institutional recourse. If the institutions can't provide you with what you want, you tend to act against those institutions in a violent manner. That's what that is, which is why extremists are more likely to end up being violent, but that doesn't inherently mean that all extremists are violent. Sure. Anarcho-communists, from what I understand from the 19th century version of anarcho-communists,
if you want to ask about the modern version, I'm right here.
Yeah, I will. But from what I've heard, it wasn't supposed to be violence. It was supposed to be through creating like autonomous zones within a country. Like you just act independently of the country, and then all of a sudden you have socialism and communism. You're not supposed to seize anything, from what I understood. Am I incorrect there?
So no. What happens is basically the idea is if there's like shit going on, like for example, the world we're in right now, people are starving, people are hungry, and all that shit. What we have to do is basically go and try to like seize like access to like food. Like I was reading Kropotkin today because I'm trying to get for the fucking book, but basically seize the bread. Like basically we have to take the bread, and when the process of the revolution is happening, and the revolution comes is whenever like basically people are fucking tired, they're done, and so like fuck this shit. we're going to take control of the factory so we can make sure we are able to provide for ourselves and our families and all that shit. So basically,
okay, so it's changed.
So okay,
So,
well, there's
I see a problem with the
extreme
question,
right,
though.
like white nationalists or whatever the fuck, who want to like implement like national socialism and stuff. That like they have a plan.
National socialism is not socialism.
Extremist shit isn't wrong. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Like I think it's equally bad to use violence as a means to like get your way, like politically. That's what I'm trying to point out. Like
the problem comes is the association of violence, right? So what happens is violence is a product of circumstances. It's not an inherently negative or positive. What we do is look at the context and why violence occurs. And what we try to do is resolve the reasons why violence occurs. Or in some instances, violence may be necessary. So like if somebody is like raping somebody, you maybe say, hey, I'm going to have to beat the shit out of that guy to stop them raping. So like violence isn't inherently negative or positive. What happens is it takes on a context.
Well, it requires it has to be popular violence, though, right?
But
like,
in America, it is like
no, it has,
we have
in America
way too many fucking options to like get shit done and make an impact on like our society.
Well, the problem
our entire institutions are built to be slow and
Sorry,
sure,
I have a question. Is the word seizing necessarily violent? When I say I'm going to seize the means of production, does that mean it inherently needs to be a violent seizure, or can it be a non-violent seizure? If you're doing an armed rebellion,
that's why I'm trying to get away from the whole like comparing this to like people saying seize the means of production, because I don't think people running around saying seize the means of production are
that's what this question
radicals.
is.
I know, but that's not really. It's not really a fair comparison because.
But if it's
you're comparing it to people who are taking down, who are literally there on the 6th, so someone running around saying like "seize the means of production."
That's the topic question.
That wouldn't be a more accurate comparison would be like people who were fucking trying to burn down the federal building. Like both of these people are using like the most extreme means to get the change that they want to see. Like,
sorry, wait, who was trying to burn?
And we should be demonizing like those who are associating with them.
I'm sorry, who are you talking about?
You're talking about in Seattle?
Who is burning down federal buildings?
Portland.
Fucking Portland.
So was that
that was happening for like 6 months?
Yeah, was that due to like worker-related issues, or what was that? What was the purpose behind that?
And wasn't it a 3%er who did that actually? The one in Minneapolis, like trying to frame
anti-Trump. I think we've got a bit of a faulty premise though, because we're trying to determine whether or not the right is any worse than the left. And it's the only way we can really do that is by looking at what the harm has been done by one side versus the other side. But unfortunately, it's been loaded with the term seizing the means of production. There's been a lot of violence from the left, but very little of it had anything to do with seizing the means of production. So we need to take a look more at, has all the LARPing from the left, I'd say, regarding seizing the means of production. And by the way, I'm on the left, so I'm not disparaging. Has some sort of deleterious effect that could be as level as what was done by the right in its actions.
So I mean, the violence that happens
right there,
is an instance. The violence that happens at strikes is an instance of like violence related to seizing the means of production. But I would say, as an instance, like generally, I'm not going to be too against what happens there, in the context of what's going on. And like when it comes to the left and the right, like generally one's goal is to, feed and uplift and, assist oppressed peoples, and the other is to like stomp down on them more. So like, I don't know. When I look at their goals, I'm gonna. Well, here. Like... So when I think of one whose goals I would support, it's generally the one that has the harm reduction in mind versus the harm escalation in mind.
How many leftist governments have stomped on folks that they find problematic? Like, it happens all the time.
I'm in the United States, though.
I mean, the thing is, we have a history of not having to resort to violence ever since, the Civil War, I guess.
Okay, so wait, hold on. There's been violence all across, after the Civil War.
There's been general violence, but not
violence never stopped. The violence never stopped.
I'm talking about on a massive scale, like Civil War style. Like, I'm not talking about like one person by themselves doing that. Hold on.
Civil rights.
What I'm talking about is popular violence that will actually change the institutions that exist within a country, right? Like there actually has to be a large group of people who want to get up in arms about something.
There doesn't have to be a civil war to change institutions.
No, it just has to be on a massive scale to the point where
not
it's
on
like
a massive scale either.
I just gotta address this, Madeline. Like they've overthrown governments. Like one time in New Jersey, they like overthrew like a city government, like a white mob after the Civil War. Overthrew a city government.
And they do that in North Carolina too.
They might have done in multiple places. Like lots of
I know
violence.
what you're talking about. That's true.
There's a KKK bombing of a union hall, a pretty famous event, right? Like 10 blocks from where I live.
And then we can talk about there was a strike that was happening a long time ago, back in the 1920s, where basically like there was an entire like 3-day battle between like the workers and like the police or military as they were trying to engage in the strike, and then the military came and said, "No, screw you, we're gonna kill you."
Yeah, no, that's true. That's all right. Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
The politics is violence. I'm going to be real.
If we're talking about like Blair Mountain, right? That was wasn't that private forces?
No. Actually, no. I'm going to have to push back on what Dr. Key said right now, because by saying politics is violence, what you're essentially doing, or what you're aiming. I'm not going to say what you're aiming to do, but what people are doing is to justify any sort of violent action on behalf of.
I'm not justifying shit, but how is it enforced, right? How is the result of a political action enforced, right? All politics is violence, whether explicit or implicit, right?
And therefore what? And what's important? And therefore what? And therefore what? It's legitimate for you then to engage in other types of violence, in breaking people's houses, breaking in, beating people up, going out. Then what's the
the problem?
So we're reacting.
I'm saying don't.
No. So you're
do not try to draw lines
everything when what people on the ground effectively interpret, right, is everything is just violence. So my violence is okay too. This is something that I see a lot in very radical leftist circles, where like people would justify any sort of violence by saying, well, this is just a diversity of tactics. Some people go ahead, they smash houses, they smash up factories, they go and they try to physically seize things. Other people do it by vote, because ultimately it's all violence. That is one part of this type of justification of those types of actions. Everything is ultimately violence.
Does
I think we've done.
Let her respond.
I would say people already acknowledge that there's different levels of violence. Like if you ask any leftists about how police interactions with the public, if they're fully justified, they're going to say no, there's unjustified escalations of violence, right? They're going to understand not just that, because when we talk about politicals being violence, that's true, because you do need some underpinning of violence to enforce that ideology, and we need to understand these things to understand how we engage in policy proposition and enforcement. But that being said, everyone would understand, every single person, I'm sure, that there is a distinction in types of violence, that not all violence is the same, and that low-level violence does not justify high-level violence.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, that's pretty no-brainer.
And understanding isn't the same as giving it a free pass. You can understand something and still say this is a bad fucking thing.
Okay,
you can understand. I can understand that the people that were there. That's what I'm saying. I can understand that people who were there on the 6th, thought that they really believed that the fucking election was stolen. They thought they were fucking doing the right thing.
Because they believe
that doesn't mean I'm trying to say
why they believe and the problems that come with that belief itself. Right?
That's what I'm saying. That's fine. We could look into that shit and we could still say these guys are idiots. I don't understand why it's so hard for a lot of people on the left to do that. And I'm gonna. Maybe it's not anybody in here, but I see this so much. It's we can't just say, yeah, the people who were fucking burning, starting fires at the federal building, that's bad. No, it's but there was there's problems with police, we can still fucking acknowledge those things and still say this is not the right way.
Give it a try.
Yeah, I said if there's nobody in this call specifically, then why would you even prescribe that morals to us? The left is great,
because it's a general attitude, and
but that's
part of the question.
Opinion
it's tangent to the question. That's why
it's
relevant to the topic.
So basically,
engage with us, not with ghosts in your own head.
Right. Well, it's relevant to the topic.
So Nacho. So basically, here's what you have to say. Okay, violence is a thing, but we have to look at the context of why things happen. Like when we specifically look at the insurrection, it's this foundation that is built on nothing, literally nothing. Like basically the idea is the election was stolen. Trump is is going to be taken out of office. The Democrats are trying to overthrow and institute like communism. So like the problem comes is that association, therefore, leading to the radicalization of violence on the right. And I'm not saying inherently the left or right are better, but it's the foundation in which they're built. The left wants to pursue democracy and pursuing people's lives by like having democracy increasing in the workforce. However, there are significant barriers through that. Now, if you look at the right, what they want to do is like, for example, all the anti-trans bills. You see all the violence that was occurring in the BLM protests. You see the insurrection itself. These are all components of the context of why the violence is occurring.
Okay, no. So that's not part of like when we're talking about stuff like phrases like seize the means of production, we're not just talking about, stuff that the left is doing now. This is a leftist catchphrase or like a leftist slogan that has been used in conjunction with other things, like for example, nothing to lose but your change. The underpinning of that, let's actually like analyze the underpinning of that, right? Is that the government, well, not the government, but like the factory owners, right? The capitalists, the bourgeoisie are oppressing the proletariat, and so the bourgeois government or the bourgeois revolution or bourgeois democracy has to be overthrown. The means of production, distribution, and exchange have to be seized by the workers because because the capitalists won't give it up willingly.
They won't.
Right? They won't. So therefore you have to seize it violently. And guess what's going to happen? And because under this phrase, no, let me finish, please, right? Let me finish, please, right? And because underneath the capitalist framework, the bourgeois interests controlling of the government, part of this seize the means of production is an anti-electoralism, right? Because you don't have, this you don't have like either you seize the means of production through the power of the state, right? Or you do it through you always do it through the power of the state.
No,
How do you do it?
Don't do
Either right now,
finish.
basically through a revolution. These are slogans and things that are used for under the ideological underpinnings is that you as a worker are oppressed. Therefore, you have to rise up against your boss and throw him the fuck out of the factories and seize that shit for yourself. And that is an inherently violent ideology. What we're talking about, right? What we're talking about, and it's the same fundamental foundation when it comes to right-wing violence as well, right? Because the foundation, right, is that the government is like this tyrannical communist bullshit, like whatever.
Okay,
it's fucking nonsense, right? It's nonsense. But effectively, the government is being tyrannical. Therefore, you are justified in taking arms into your hands and kicking the people out.
It's okay. You can talk. It's fine. But what happens is the thing is. This is a end product, right? When we talk about seizing the means of production through like violence sometimes is because we've pursued other methods, we've pursued other routes, and we've seen the end process of what happens. Nothing changes. And so what happens is people are
millions of people die from starvation is what happens.
Okay, if you're going to call the USSR socialist, we can talk about this all day long. If you want to talk about that, that's another discussion. Stay on topic. What happens is when we specifically talk about this, we've been driven to the extreme. We've been driven to the revolution. And from there is, if you want to prevent a revolution, just do this shit in the first place. But they're not going to do this shit because there's an inherent power discrepancy, and they're incentivized to maintain it.
Wouldn't they just say that on the other side too?
No.
The
question would be
what's what I'm saying? The ideological underpinnings are the same.
Well, no, the ideological
who on the left are throwing
of the radicals are
extremes. The mechanics are similar. Right, so like the mechanics are similar. There's a justification for
the thought process or lack of it, though, is the same too. Like you don't want
the
understanding that there's a lot of different ways to do this. You're gonna feel just enough.
Hold on, chill. I don't actually agree with the lack of thought concept. Like that's not necessarily true. I feel like leftists are more inclined to do it's sort of like more academic in nature, while
not all of them.
On the right,
no, even fascists are academics.
I mean, sometimes, yeah, but like the type of arguments that we were seeing on January 6th were like Donald Trump lost the election and there's no evidence, or I mean, they rented out like like
I'm speaking.
You see like blatant incompetence happening on January 6th.
The thought leaders
and everybody just kind of went
the
with
movement
it.
do know why they're doing it and know exactly like what they're doing.
Yeah,
and have
sure.
thought
Maybe the
I'm
thought
talking about
leaders
the folks
do,
on the
but
ground.
those who
On
are
the ground
following them
level.
around and who are
The-
walking
the
around in
folks on
fucking
the
Chaz and
ground-
Chop, thinking that they're
Hey,
fucking
Nacho,
security
here,
guards,
can
and then
I-
they shoot up a fucking
Nacho,
car with two
Nacho,
people in
I
it and
fucking
kill
know
them.
a little bit
Like
about
those
left-wing shit,
people
so
are
here,
brain dead.
I'm
Like
gonna respond to
Doing,
Mad Lad, like
the folks doing the agitating
that's what I'm saying.
are more read up, while the folks who are doing on the left versus on the right,
yeah,
where
the guys on the
agitating
ground.
are just
They're all pawns.
repeating-
Like, what do you mean?
No, not everybody's
Guys
a pawn.
on the
You
ground
ask
thought
like you
leaders.
ask. I've been to these protests. Like you ask a bunch of these people that are out there, like why they're out there and like who they're like. They don't even know who the fuck their representatives are. They've never written a letter to their fucking like Congress, their senators, they're like anybody. They don't know who they're like. They don't even know what district they live
Well, they
in.
don't, I mean, they don't believe in their
I
system.
am having an issue
On
where you're
both-
just
this is
describing
on both
broad-
sides.
What is the harm?
How can they
Both
believe in the
sides.
system and
So-
engage in it?
Go ahead, Kyo-san, and then
I don't-
Zenia.
That's what I was saying. It's like if you're going to talk about like people who don't believe in the system, people are sick of it, and they don't have any other avenue. Like none of them have actually engaged in it. None of them have tried to engage in it. None of them have any interest in engaging in it. Right?
I
Like
have.
here we go. Here's some fucking hard truths. Is like 90% of the fucking people who like whinge about communism and talk about workers' rights all over fucking Twitter and Twitch and whatever the fuck. Right? None of them have ever engaged in trying to fight for workers' rights. None of them have engaged. In
Dude,
fucking
I'm
joining
trying to
their
engage in
unions.
unionization. Don't even come at me.
Yeah, no,
Okay?
no,
I'm
like,
not
people
talking
that-
about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm
Okay.
talking about like 90% of people, right? Like you're not like out here like talking about
Yeah.
like fucking let's march the guns in, let's fucking take the government,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah, you
all
guys are the
fucking-
exception, not the rule.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the
yeah,
problem
yeah,
comes.
yeah, yeah.
Shut up. Kyo, finish your point, and then we'll go to Zenia.
Yeah. So the point is that like these people need to engage in their system before they can actively say that like it's failed me or it's like not working for me, because none of these people are actually engaged in doing any of this shit at all, and they're wondering why it's failing.
Do you have actual proof on that?
Zenia.
And two, do you have to yell everything, please?
Zenia.
Thank you. So first of all, we're supposed to be demonstrating harm done by the left's antics or language or both, and whether or not that is as bad as what the right has done thus far. And we need to talk about what those actions are. So far, this is sounding like mostly just a bitch fest about what the left talks about, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we talk a lot of shit. Where's the harm? Tell me about the harm. I don't see the harm. It sounds to me like it's just become, oh, the left whines and complains a whole bunch, but they haven't done any harm. I can't point to any harm. So how about we demonstrate some harm so we can
What about
actually
the
answer the
autonomous
question?
zones in Seattle, or where was the other place? Portland. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
like
was pretty
seizing
cringe.
the land,
Seizing
wasn't it?
seizing the means of production. But
I mean, it wasn't great.
So
Okay, so
It was about as effective,
yeah.
I would say.
Wait, did somebody say that's not seizing the means of production?
Oh, is it
no,
seizing
it's
the
not.
no, it's seizing territory, not seizing the
Yeah,
means of
that-
production.
territory.
Okay,
That
so
was
Matt,
anarchist,
let's-
So that by
stuff.
the way, we might want to distance ourselves from the seizing the means of production thing. Seems like a really faulty premise to argue this whole thing on. How are
But
you
it's the
gonna?
premise though, so it's like
It's
yeah,
weird.
we have to work within it,
Right.
unfortunately. So Matt, so let me ask you a specific
Okay.
question. Is sorry, Zonia, I don't mean to interrupt you. So, Matt, let me ask you specifically, what harm came out of the autonomous zones? What specific instances and things occurred from it?
I mean, I guess you could argue. This is arguable, so like we'd have to get to like a lot of semantics and stuff. But someone did get shot, and police did not help the person who was shot. Right?
Somebody got
Like, people
shot
actually
today.
died, and it was
Several
similar numbers.
people
It was
got
like
shot.
months. How many
Yeah,
people got
it's-
shot?
And the cops
Like
weren't able to
3.
come in.
It was like 3, I think.
It was
The
3,
EMTs
okay.
weren't able to come in.
Right. So there was actual harm
I'm
done.
pretty sure
and,
EMTs were able to cross.
and I
over
mean,
the
businesses weren't
autonomous zone.
operating anyway, probably because of COVID. But still, like there was like some
Yeah,
financial
yeah.
harm
So,
done
so
to the
the,
people
so
who
the
live
problem
there. That type of thing.
comes with the autonomous zone itself is like there's plenty of issues we can criticize, right? Nothing is free from criticism. What happens is the problem comes like I've done a little bit of research and I never found any person who shot them, right? It was never shown who shot or killed them. So the problem comes is like we have this like very open like who knows? It could have been the police, it could have been people who were living in the autonomous zone, and so there's this weird gray area where we can't figure it out.
Well, if the EMTs
So
can't make it, wait, hold on,
someone who
hold on.
prevented police from going
There
in.
was
The
6
police
people
went
shot
in and
in-
shot
Alright,
people
chill,
anyway.
chill.
Is that what
I
we're
mean-
saying?
I mean, the police were already shooting people.
The point is that EMT has not been able to reach the people who were shot, right?
Okay,
so if
so
doctors
that's
can't
an
reach
example.
the
Yeah, that's an example of a possible problem. That doesn't mean everything is necessarily negated. So
I'm not saying that it's all evil. What I'm saying is that there were problems that resulted, and it feels fairly similar.
And that's a fair point. I
don't even know if it's evil. I think they had good intentions. It's just fucking shit execution. Like,
yeah, there's plenty of problems with the autonomous zone, and like for example, like the EMTs not being able to travel over. Like that's a fair point. And so what we need to do is like, okay, if we do this again, how do we make sure we get people access to proper medical care? And that's like something we can do. Is like, okay, well, we can like designate specifically who's the EMTs and blah blah blah, and then from there, like maybe check their boxes like they're traveling in, just in case the police are trying to hide in it. So.
And then I guess the right wingers would review what went wrong with their January 6th insurrection.
Chris, go ahead.
I mean, they're probably already reviewing if they're just too busy getting arrested.
This idea of trying to compare the harm between these two is just absolutely ridiculous to me.
I mean, didn't like 30 people die due to the riots over the summer?
Hold on. Well, that was due to police enforcement. People were protesting against the oppression of police enforcement, not trying to seize the means of production, and that would included tons of different types of people. You can't say they were all just leftists, right? Also, when it came to the January 6th incident, they were very close to achieving their goal, right? We had them like the entire Senate in that place. They were rushing in to kidnap and kill all of it, but mainly almost kill all of them, right? Republican and Democratic alike, they didn't care. Whereas you have you have like Chop at 3 people got shot, and like people
what
get
would have
shot
happened
every
if they
day.
accomplished the goal?
Every day. And Chop accomplished a goal and nothing happened, right? They accomplished a goal of taking that part of the town.
I'm talking about the right wing. If the right wing actually seized the Capitol building and successfully burned the ballots and did all the things that they wanted to do, what would have been the consequences of that?
I don't know, possibly almost civil war.
Probably death of like the people there.
I don't think it would have been.
Most likely, honestly, it would have been very, very tense. But ultimately, America's institutions are stronger. Like what happened was, what happened was there's a formal line of succession, right, in the United States called continuity of government, and in the case, right, that no ballots would have been counted or whatever after January 6th, guess who would have become president on January 21st? Not Trump. It would have been Nancy Pelosi as the third in line because there's no elected.
Are you trying to sell me some conspiracy theory?
That is the worst. No, that is the worst case scenario. That is the worst case scenario. Right? That is the worst case scenario. Everything is burned. Right?
You could very easily find yourself in a civil war with an illegitimate president and the streets running red. It is a worst case scenario.
That's exactly what happens during religious revolutions as well. So, what's going on?
Worst case scenarios could be anything, but practically, what would have happened if the Capitol rioters did what they wanted to do and strung up a whole bunch of Congress folk and burned the ballots or did all of these things? The American people would not have stood for it. That's what would have happened. Republicans would have been horrified. They would have been horrified.
There'd be a minor loss.
They would have joined because they
would have been killed. There's a lot of Republicans. Hold on. Up until January 6th, Republicans were the party of law and order, right? They were raiding. I'm not saying
they're law and order.
I'm not agreeing with it. Don't interrupt me. Hold on. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm saying that they presented as folks who are into this whole law and order business. So anybody seeing the 3%ers stringing up Congress people who were buying into that propaganda at that time would have immediately responded in the kind. If you're looking at it now, the propaganda message has changed for the last 6 months, and right-wingers are talking about how the elections were rigged and blah, 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 and they're trying to become a little bit more open-minded about it or whatever. But back then, I think there would have been a lot of problems. All the Republicans that I know who talked about the event were horrified by it. And I happen to know.
Did you actually read the polling on this? Did you actually read the polling on January 6th?
I read
a lot of them agreed with it.
Okay.
There's enough people that agreed with it that it's disconcerting, but there's enough people who had a problem with it that it wasn't.
It's a significant majority of Republicans.
Okay, no.
It would have been a small scale.
Give it a try.
No, then.
Yes, so what I've been trying to say for a while, where we were on the initial topic, talking about seizing the means of production, because that's the question at hand here, was that it does not necessarily need to be a violent overthrowing of the when you seize the means of productions, you can do that in a way using competition as opposed to directly going and opposing your bosses and throwing them out of their positions. For example, let's say here in Canada, we have a couple of co-ops, and you could go ahead, create a co-op that is competitive with fellow corporate companies, in which case, if you are a good co-op, you can go ahead and compete better than the corporations in the market, in which case you have now, in a way, partially seized the means of production because you are able to go ahead and seize the means of production without overthrowing. There are also examples of socialist companies that do quite well, and that is a form of seizing the means of production without necessarily having to overthrow. For example, within my space, there's a company called ASML, which is a semiconductors company. It is one of the biggest semiconductors company, but it also gives all of their employees a market share. So everybody gets a percentage of the profits every year. And in that way, it is a seizing of the means of productions. We all get a vote while working at this company as well. And it is one of the most prolific semiconductor companies. We do not need to necessarily go up to our employers and say, can we own this? And they'll say, no, we put up the capital. Well, fuck you, I'm going to take it. No, you can just go and have a co-op, which is just more competitive on the marketplace.
We have
we don't need to.
We have 5 minutes left, so you haven't gotten in. You better jump
The potential issue with that. Sorry, if somebody else will go.
Oh, or whatever.
So the potential issue that comes with it is like, for example, if we create our co-ops that are competitive in other areas, however, like the areas that are not co-op, like basically like how do we go about, like we can go about unionization. Okay, if we go about unionization of like Amazon, they'll say like do all the propaganda shit. So the problem comes is like we don't have to
why are they not all co-op?
No, but basically what I'm saying is we don't have to necessarily use violence, but violence is like the threat of violence may be useful in itself.
Well, okay, so
I just don't see I think there's so many different ways in which you can seize a means of production. Whereas when we speak about armed rebellion, it is necessarily violent. It gives the context of there will be the plausibility of violence.
I wasn't talking about armed rebellion. I was just saying the threat of
No.
violence in a workplace.
No. I am saying I'm trying to compare it to the other side. So I'm saying like seizing the means of production has different types of context. There's different ways in which you could potentially seize the means of production. It could be potentially with the threat of violence, but it doesn't. It's not necessary. That's not the only way in which you seize the means of production. Whereas the other point that we were given, where it says through armed rebellion on the conservative end, is necessarily predicated with the threat of violence. Whereas seizing the means of reproduction can be done in ways that are not necessarily violent. Which, in that sense, I'm just saying I believe that the left is better than the right in this sense because it doesn't invalidate millions of people's votes, even if you live in a small country. It doesn't, it doesn't invalidate anybody's vote. You can go ahead and seize the means of productions without, going ahead and telling a bunch of people, hey, I don't give a fuck about what you voted on. I don't believe what the results are. I'm doing my own thing now.
Right. Well, if all those people voted for capitalism, then yeah, you're kind of fucking them.
So the issue here, right? The issue here.
When do we vote for our economic structure?
Well, if you're voting for the right to have privatized businesses, and then a smaller group is going to come in and scream like seize the means of production, and
no, that's not
happening. No. So I'm going to try to just real quick, right? So if you start up, for example, a co-op business, right, and then you compete in the market, that's not seizing the means of production because you're not seizing anything, right? You're just growing a business, right? It's just an extra business. That's not seizing anything, right? So when people say, when a lot of lefty groups say, seize the means of production, I don't think they're talking about let's just start a co-op and like maybe we'll outcompete. No, what people are talking about, the underpinnings of that phrase from like Marxist activism, right, is we are going to go into the factories and take the ownership of that factory away from the owners. Right? It's not having a good company and then outcompeting.
And what if they don't want to give it up?
Hello, gentlemen. May I cut you off?
The process is violent, and then
yeah, one of the biggest things, at least smart left wingers in the U.S. are pushing for, is the right of first refusal, right? And an increase in unionization, right? And the right of first refusal is a completely bloodless and violentless way of seizing the means of production, right? Capital goes through cycles, right? And companies will eventually fail. It's impossible to keep a stack of blocks stacked forever, right? And so the right of first refusal means that when a company goes under, it is the employees of that company who have the first right to refuse, meaning they have the first option to buy out the company, right? If you have a union with union dues that is collected up over time into a very, nice little fund, right? What can happen is eventually the business goes under, they use the dues they have collected to buy the company, and they give it to the workers and turn it into a democratic institution, right? That is completely bloodless, no violence, and you have now seized the means of production. So
show me where the phrase "seize the means of production" is used to advocate for that policy.
Right.
Seize the means of production is almost exclusively used in order to agitate for the violent takeover of businesses.
Faction? Is this a faction that holds any political
power,
or the government, or is it just angry people online? Right.
No, okay,
angry people in a comment section do not in fact have the power to act on that
99% of lefties that use the phrase are fucking LARPers. Okay.
Yeah, so they have no power. So it's irrelevant to listen to them.
If you want to call out somebody, okay.
Historically, there's millions of deaths. Okay, in the old country.
Hey,
all right.
Okay, but we're not talking about the old country.
To seizing the means of production being a very bad idea.
Are we talking about America? Are we talking about the old country? Are we talking about America?
Yeah, we're talking about.
Seize the means of production as a phrase and how it is used.
Talking right versus
because people right now are disingenuous in America. Does not like.
We don't need to actually define what
I mean, no. Like, would you ever like take from a fascist, right? If they're talking about the JQ and then saying, "Oh no, we're not doing it like, oh, we're not going to be doing it like." The people back then did it. We're going to be doing it. All it means is just like shipping them all off to Israel. Would you accept that logic?
As a Chris. So
would you diversity of tactics?
That's the round. Thank you very much. All right. That was great. So to my audience, what's going to happen now is that you're going to be voting for which of these individuals you'll be one to stay into the next round, who you want to keep, not who you want to kick, okay? I'll be putting a link in chat, and you'll vote for whoever you found the most interesting, the funniest. You don't even necessarily have to agree with them, right? But whoever you think will drive conversation, vote however you like, right? But vote who you want to stay onto the next round, not who you want to leave, all right? So the most popular ones, we'll be able to pick among the people who have the least number of votes and toss them out, all right? So it's all up to you, all right? So, but I need you to vote. Okay, and this part is very important. This part's extremely important because I got to do this every week because people seem to forget every week. All right, you'll have 5 minutes to vote. You'll have 5 minutes. You won't have 6 minutes. You'll have 5 minutes, right? If you vote afterwards, no one cares, okay? So vote in time. And when I refresh the page, that'll be the results that we'll use. Not when you refresh the page. So I don't care what your results say. It'll be what my results say. So get your votes in early. Do it now, not later. Okay? Thanks. You would think this would be a simple task, but we keep forgetting about it. All right. So I'm going to put the link right now. Everyone, vote, vote, vote. You have 5 minutes left on the clock. Vote right now. Vote right this second. 5 minutes left. Vote, vote, vote. The link is in chat. All right. All right, you guys can talk about anything you want while this 5 minutes goes down. But remember, everyone, right now, vote. Right, vote with the second. It's in links in chat.
I make it a goal to base my politics off of what the goal of a movement is, rather than how it's behaving and things like that. Because I have to act on my own actions, not on what other people are doing, oftentimes. And it's done me pretty well so far, I think.
Yeah. As a Chris, did you conflate season and means of production with I don't know, Nazis?
I mean, that's what I heard. He's talking about Romania.
He's also talking about the USSR.
essentially.
Yeah, no.
Which is weird because the Soviets...
So sorry. So like, so the point I tried to make is that like this kind of thing where it's like, well, you're using a phrase or like addiction that is used like has been used in the past effectively to very very deadly results, and like, well, you would never accept it from like the far right if they used like rehashes of like. Nazi propaganda or whatever to like and Nazi catchphrases like blood and soil, right? And then do that.
Anyway,
that was kind of the point I was trying to get to.
About
right?
Like
you would never accept that kind of like
interesting how the first Soviet
it's different because you agree
English
with it
is actually a workers' council. Like that's kind of what it is. And the very first Soviets formed in St. Petersburg, then Petrograd, as sort of a reaction to the increasing autocracy of the Tsarist regime and increasing restrictions that were being placed on workplace freedoms. It was actually, I think it was the brother of Tsar Nicholas who was managing Petrograd at the time that kind of put these austerity measures onto the economy, partially due to help fund the war efforts because Russia was in World War I at the time. And so these workers Soviets were like, we don't want to be in the war, we don't want to fund this, we want the money to be made in Petrograd to come back to us, the workers. So we're forming these councils and we're doing things our way. It's actually kind of interesting, and the really, really early of the history of the Soviet Union is a fascinating period of history.
Yeah, I mean, are you getting this from a little? I mean, I don't have it. I don't have it here. I have a little handbook called "The History of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union," published in like. Are you getting this from that?
No, I don't remember exactly where I read it, but this is sort of information I picked up while I was in college doing research on, the Soviet Union and former communist states as part of my
everyone
degree.
right this second. Vote. If you haven't voted yet, the link is in chat. There's a link to a poll. It's very simple. Vote right now. Vote right this second. If you wait till afterwards, again, no one gives a shit. So do it right now, or your vote will count, or your favorite individual will be taken out. I've seen it happen before, right? People don't vote; they wait till afterwards, right? And then once I refresh, after someone's already been eliminated, they would have missed elimination because they're fan base and vote. So vote right this second. Don't vote later. Link is in chat.
I'm probably gonna get kicked, but that's fine.
Thank you in advance, chat, for your patronage if you choose me. Thank you, mate. It's real swishy.
Also, Nacho, I just wanted to say I have concerns about your horseshoe theory going on. Like the equivocation, it's not really comparable. I would say think about it just a little bit. So yeah.
It comes from a place of ignorance, not malice, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's like a shitty person. I'm just saying it has potential negative implications.
Yeah. Gotta be careful when you're talking about implications.
When it comes to I know it's hard to I've said this before, but there are certain sectors of within the left that are exactly like that, right? That they bounce from usually from left to right. They're one week they're a fascist, the next week they're really obsessed with the tank of aesthetic of Stalin. These people absolutely exist.
Well, it's actually quite
I only
interesting.
concern myself with factions that have political power, and LARPing folks they have no political relevancy because they don't organize in any effective manner, and so I don't care to talk about them or think about them because there's nothing they can do that'll affect me in any meaningful capacity.
Yeah, just because something exists doesn't mean it's useful.
Well, no. Because I'd argue that these lone actors who are generally pretty unhinged are usually the ones to actually be worried about. Timothy McVeigh was just one guy. He didn't really I actually had two people I think work with him.
No, I'm talking about from a policy perspective. Anyone can go insane and do something.
He also came from Patriot,
incredibly damaging.
So the votes are in. And we'll take a look right now. Thank you everyone who did vote. So we'll do that right now. And hold on, I'm going to put on our spooky music, our spooky elimination music. We're so excited. All right, here we go. So let's take a look. It's refreshing. See what's happening. so slow. All right. Oh, wow. This is more than I thought. Okay. All right. Well, at the top, number 1 is our good friend and our amazing mod, Katarana. Katarana, you did it.
I rigged it.
Kidding. Nice work. Nice work. Okay. Number 2, American Nacho. Look, I'm telling you, conservatives have a good possibility of making it in this chat.
Did you pay off?
The Clintons.
Okay.
When there's so few of them, you know, you kind of ball all your weight behind one person.
Okay. But yeah, this is nice work on. Let's put these individuals at the top where they belong. That's the winner's row. All right. No, but Madeline, I guess you're number 3.
I love you all.
Okay.
Nice.
At the bottom, which. All right.
Sorry, Chris.
All right. Look. We'll start from the bottom. Work our way up. But we got a problem here. The same problem we had before. All right. Look. At the bottom we have Chris Cosmo. Chris, it's a shame. It's heartbreaking. Oh, we already there. I didn't mean to put you there, but that works. Okay, great. Next, Azkarath is yeah. Oh, you're all already there too. Okay, I don't have to move you. But
my prediction has come true.
No, actually not yet. We'll see. All right. So we have 2 people who have tied. Dr. K and Wordy. All right. This is very annoying when this happens. I haven't figured out a great way to tie break, but we'll try the thing we did before. All right.
Wait, I thought we were eating 2. Are we eating 3?
Oh my God! Please, could you just let me talk? All right. We will do to figure out who's among the bottom 3 very quickly. All right. We will do rock paper scissors. Dr. K, Wordy, which we'll do. You will DM me. Who is whether you're doing rock paper scissors, right? So DM me right now.
What about rock paper scissors lizard Spock?
I mean, Wordy, if you want the spot, just let me know. Like, you can add it. It's all good.
Hey, it's fine. I'm fine with either of us making it. I respect you. So
sweet. Let's see.
So DM me.
Where do I get
rock paper scissors?
There he is.
Okay, alright, that's 1. Oh my God, please don't send the same one. Okay, good, great. Alright. Well, that's awfully kind of you. Alright, for not doing. Last time we did this, everyone, the same one, again and again. It was tying the entire time. It was very annoying. Not the case here. Wordy won. Okay, with rock.
I will dance at your wedding.
Sounds good.
Okay, alright, so...
Hey, y'all, been real.
No, you're not eliminated. Listen to me and don't just be quiet. Listen. Like, holy crap. Alright. So, what happens next is that the bottom 3 will get 30 seconds each to beg the top 2, that would be Katarana and Nacho, right, as to why they should stay, alright? So we'll start with Chris Cosmo. Katarana can hear you. She's like in the bathroom, but she can hear you. Hopefully she can also type to us. That'd be useful. But she can hear you. So Katarana and American Nacho. It's weird watching Nacho just eat like while all this is happening.
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. when I had to eat, man. That's what was taking me a while. So
okay, go ahead.
He's got to think with his stomach.
Cosmo.
I was so hungry, and then he was like, "You want to come on the panel?" I was like,
not toss you.
I'm not surprised I'm here. This is my first time on, and I'm just getting my feet wet. I still have arguments to make. I would like to start it. For some reason, I was under the impression that we're gonna get like an open-end statement, but that didn't happen. So it was just a barrage of like, comments and things. And you only get in a few seconds to give an argument. Wasn't good, especially being cut off. So like, keep me around. Let me, raise my power level a little bit. Show you what I got. American Nacho, I've argued with you before. It's fun. Like we can continue to do this. Like and Katarana, she's like, I always love her takes. She gave the best answer that last round. You really did, and I wanted to like still man your position, but you know, all these people giving so many bad takes, it's hard to get it. You know what I mean? So like, give me a chance to show you what I got. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Wow, that's a lot of encouragement for a person who's on the toilet. Like that would help me. Like I wish I did that level of encouragement when I was on the toilet.
Frankly, I was surprised at the votes. I thought you did exceptionally well. So.
Thank you.
So next, Asgreth, yes, beg. These two amazing individuals as to why you should stay.
Great. So the first thing I'm going to promise is that the next round I'm actually going to try to put like a text document out and like put like 1, 2, 3 points when I'm going to actually speak. So I might actually be making better points than like maybe just yelling at people. It was my first time. It's first time on like this you know, the Royale panel. So like, you know, give me a bit of a break. You know, maybe show a bit of Canadian solidarity, Katarana. You know, like fellow Canadians, let's go. Solidarity. You know, like Maple Leaf flag. You know, but otherwise, you know, eminently predictable result. You know, I thought I'd get like last place or something. So like it's, you know, whatever. It's been interesting anyway, and probably, you know, some anyway, everybody else subscribe to Katarana.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much. Next, Dr. K, please.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not here to grovel, but I generally like to think that I can bring some pretty good argumentation to the table. I'm a blue collar, you know, academic, and if you'll have me, you'll have me. If you won't, you won't. So it is what it is. Let's have fun. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So Katarana and Nacho, what you'll be doing is you'll be DMing me privately, okay? As to which of these individuals you will toss. You'll send me one name each, as to who you'll toss. You got it? Oh, okay. All right. There's one, and waiting on the other. Waiting on the other. It's coming. I'm sure it is. You believe in it. Okay. All right. Well, the votes are in. Dr. K. You are you're taking
double shot.
Yes, actually, they did both vote for you. All right.
Really?
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Right? When you get 2 votes, right? That means you get to decide who goes with you. All right. So
I'm sorry.
Cosmo, Asgreth, on your knees. Why should Dr. K not be spiteful and take you with her?
Oh no, they don't need to make no arguments. I already know.
I got.
All right, okay, guys, goodbye.
Well, I don't know. Dr. K, send me a text. DM me, all right? Let me know which of these individuals is going to be tossed on. I don't know why you have it in for anyone in particular. Oh, wow. All right. Well, it is what it is. Yes, you're right, Asgreth. There's no...
I'm going to hell and you're coming with me.
There we go.
Let's go. I'm the Grim Reaper. I'm bony-ass hand to you. Come on, buddy. Let's go.
I'll see you later, Dr. K.
All right. Well, both of you
can
give an outro if you want.
Bye, Dr. K.
You know, follow me if you want. I'm gonna start streaming again on Sunday, and I think I have some cool ideas for like infrastructure and like port projects and stuff like that I might stream. But it'll probably get like 2 views, but it'll be a fun time. Yeah, I don't know. Have fun.
All right, thanks so much. Asgreth.
All right, you know, thanks for the thanks for the fun round, guys. Hopefully, you know, we can. This is kind of, I mean, you know, hopefully this can. The next rounds are going to be a bit more amicable, less yelling over people. I'll still be listening. If anybody wants to check out my channel, spelled the exact same way, give it a follow. I may or may not be streaming stuff. Who knows? I don't know myself. But, you know, do it if you want to, and subscribe to the channel.
Actually,
well, off you go.
I'm sad I can't be here for the tenants and rent stuff. That's the stuff I really know a lot about.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Off you go. Thanks so much, everyone.
It's a sign of respect.
Okay.
Bye.
See you too.
Okay.
Sayonara.
And there we go. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you to the audience for voting. I very much appreciate it. All right. So, let me get this ready. The next topic will be... Right. The supply of donated organs routinely lags behind the demand. This is partly due to the fact that donation is an opt-in program. So, to save as many lives as possible, should donations be opt-out? Organ donations, should they be opt-out? 35 minutes left on the clock, jump into it.
They should definitely be
I would worry about it.
Definitely.
Because
I would say probably
science,
opt-in,
science is actually going to
absolutely.
fix this problem.
Most people are extremely lazy when it comes to this. When they ask for you to, do you want to donate your organs when you're like in the DMV, like people just nonchalantly say no or yes. If it was more opt out, then people would only do it if there were some like extreme reason for it. Maybe your religion or something, or you have some weird things, some weird ideas about what's going to happen to you after you die.
I think there's a lot of pushback on this idea, though, because like if people don't realize that they're donating their organs and like surprise, this is what's happening. There's gonna be a lot of stories and things that
when you're in that casket and everybody's looking at you for your.
I agree. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that families are gonna have a big problem with it, but we don't have to worry about that because science is already figuring out how to use stem cells and pig parts to make replacement organs. Yep. They're bleaching hearts, creating heart skeletons, and then growing stem cells around those skeletons so you can have a heart made from your own cells and your own DNA. You don't even have to worry about organ rejection. So that's the future of donation. We don't have to worry about it. That being said, if that doesn't work out, I guess we can debate that. But I think we're probably...
So I don't know if I'd be pitching that to like people who are dying of heart failure, like now, like, hey bro, just like hold out for like 10 years while science catches up. Like it's just not, we're talking about policies for now, okay?
Will policy catch up? The thing is, like, how we're going to get something like that passed. An opt-out organ donation registry is going to be very difficult for a society that already can't figure out how to wear a mask. For like,
it would also bother me. Like, it would make it difficult because, like, what if in the future then they change like the stipulation as far as like, oh, okay, well, it's all opt-out. Okay, but you can only opt out if, like, that would be the only thing that I could see where it would really start to become an issue. Like, well, do you have to like prove that you have some kind of like religious whatever fuck like?
That's placing some other ideas on.
It's never going to force you. Like you have to prove.
I mean,
how Muslim are you? Like no, that's not.
I don't know.
Like, no,
I'm completely against this.
Oh, like you know, like
I mean, I'm an organ donor, but like I don't.
Zonia's trying to say something.
So I see a grim, dark future going in this direction if it were opt out. I am a donor. And I encourage everybody to be donors, but we live in a world that is driven by profit. And imagine that same world where absolutely everybody is a donor without having, or it's, what would you call it? They're forced to be donors unless they opt out. And a lot of people, as we know, are pretty lazy, but imagine a world that's for-profit driven, where you can make a lot of money off of organs and such. And I get it that it sounds very like grim sci-fi kind of crap. But the thing is, we do already see this kind of thing happening in other countries that are less regulated.
But that's still kind of better than what's going on.
I'm a little bit confused. Are you saying that if it was opt-out, what would happen? Where does profit come in?
We could just fudge the paperwork.
Considering
that, opt out. Like, I don't know. A number of things.
Considering that everybody is a potential donor, I do see a bit of a problem there.
I don't know if it would be like
just
government organized. I mean, I guess there are instances.
Wouldn't be.
Well, I mean, I guess we have to think about it. Is there a situation where the government has taken things from people and then offered it to businesses who then profited off of it?
So
I mean, I guess that happens sometimes with our money, right? Like, would the organs be different?
So I think a policy is like having opt out, but finding ways of incentivizing it, right? So the idea is like if you like register as a donor and you say like, hey, like maybe we'll pay you like $50 extra if you say yes, and from there, or you could also do like say like, hey, if so the idea is like if you're a donor and you say like, hey, I'll be fine with that, then from there you could say like, hey, the family of that person, now that they're gone, say like, hey, here's a way, like a little bit of a supplementary income just for a temporary time. This way you can like. There's some potential issue.
No, I do not like these additional costs.
Okay. No, but like the idea is if we are having a lack of demand, we need to some way incentivize it, right? And the idea
I
is,
think it's not an incentivization thing; it's a laziness thing right now.
well,
So
laziness doesn't exist. So
just a quick
note.
I'm sure not everybody is very sorry. Kyo, what are you trying to say?
So just a quick note on the data, right? Between like, so you've got opt-in, which is what is now, opt-out, which is what's practiced in a lot of countries. You've also got mandatory choice. A lot of literature has been practiced between opt-in and opt-out. From what we understand, I knew I had to go through all my sources to remember where this was. There's been meta studies to find whether it's effective or not. So just to skip over that part of the conversation, which I'm sure everyone already agrees with, though, it's anywhere between like 20 to 80% more effective. In increasing like donations and saving lives. On that basis, I would absolutely advocate for that policy. I think that like any unnecessary death is a bad death. So just on the data, I'll post that in the chat for everyone to put in their little source logs because that's a nice little point. But opt-out saves lives. Full stop.
Yeah, and we should go off the assumption that this is above board. Like placing like some like stipulations on it that weren't mentioned in the question, like, is a little unfair. And like, again, like Katarina said, it is laziness. It does exist. Sometimes, like when you're at the DMV, they don't even ask you the question, or you you don't even have to be there to like do that. You don't have you can just bypass the question. It like there's no enforcement to answer the question, right? And a lot of people, some people don't even know if they're an organ donor or not on the card. It's so like it's so nonchalant. People don't think about it that much. And if people were forced to think about it, then we'd have more people giving organs. I don't think anybody. I don't think I can. Of anybody I can ask who you say like, hey, would you donate your organs when you pass away? I think tons of people would say yes, but because sometimes they're not even asked. Like we have a shortage, and that shortage is causing like tons and tons of issues.
Yeah,
so
maybe we should give people like a free Junior Frosty every time they sign up for.
Well, what's the difference between your Frosty and $50? What's the difference?
I mean, unironically, things like vaccine lotteries are things like the vaccine lotteries have shown us to be like incredibly effective in getting people signed on to things like vaccine programs, like sign-on bonuses. Like we like joke about like getting a free Frosty, but these sign-on bonuses, like lotteries, are sick as a way to do it because you can have like a massive impact on one person. But like even small sign-on bonuses can be like incredibly effective at getting people onto the programs if we're worried about keeping opt-in and trying to get more people on the donor list. That being said, right, we're entering the meme zone, by the way, just meme zone. I should put like a text on the meme zone here, right? Big meme zone on my face right now, right? Why don't we ask China for organs? They seem to consistently be able to generate organs out of nowhere. I mean, ignore the fact that the Falun Gong and the practices of the Uyghurs are missing that would be absolutely in line with the same amount of organs. They seem to be able to generate organs out of nothing. They seem to be able to break thermodynamics. We should ask the Chinese. All right, and exiting the meme zone.
Yeah, so like
maybe. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so if I can respond, so like the idea is like if we have a lack of organ availability, we have to find ways to either through paperwork issues or people are just like not taking the time to do that. Like we probably have this issue with like blood and such, and from there, if we follow the same process we worked for blood, then we can work the same process. In the end, the idea is if we incentivize people to take more behaviors, then they're more likely to do that behavior. So in that instance is like it's a degree to where we can incentivize and resolve the issue.
I have the solution. I have the solution. Are you guys ready? We provide public health care to everyone who signs on to be an organ donor.
Hell yeah, public health.
Double whammy.
Oh,
they get
a really good idea.
They get covered, and we take care of the organs that potentially could be harvested later. Okay,
that's win-win.
That's a 100% awful idea. And
American Nacho actually a leftist.
To be clear, okay, here's the light pushback to that. Right, you've got cultures like Jewish culture, for example, is like a good one that Sam brought up in my chat about that want to make sure they keep the body whole. And what you could be doing is you could be excluding certain cultures from that that may need that healthcare. So it might not be a good idea on that front. I like the idea of like giving people mandatory healthcare, but yeah.
Okay, Kyosin, but the problem is we've already kind of like dealt with this. Like whenever we had like the Jehovah's Witness who are opting out of like blood transfusion, we had specific rulings that said like children can't be prevented. So like basically it's the same like standardization. Like basically is your religious beliefs, it's great and all, but it does not affect your body in this instance because like when we apply blood transfusion to organs, then in the reality is it's the same difference.
No, okay, but those are two very different things. Saying, "Hey, parents can't say LOL, just let my kid fucking die because like I'm a Jehovah's."
No, they used to. They used to.
Yeah, and I'm not. That's not ethical. But like, I as like a grown adult, am able to say, no, my religion says I need to be buried like whole. Don't touch me, and like I should have the right to go ahead and
if
say that.
people are dying because you decide not to give organs, then it's
Yeah,
also unethical.
no. But like, okay, if we're doing opt out, it's gonna go ahead and raise it significantly to the extent that like majority of people are gonna go ahead and have their organs available for like in that case. So like that's not something that you'll need to worry about. You'll almost have an abundance of organs. You're not gonna start saying, no, religious people, no, we need yours too. For it to do what? Sit in the fridge? Like it's no longer going to be an issue of like that magnitude, and I don't think we should be incentivizing people to go ahead and like donate their organs either. I totally understand the whole idea. Yeah, so give me a second. I understand the whole idea of like the vaccines. For vaccines, it's you're basically hurting everybody around you, every single person, by not taking the vaccine because we need herd immunity. But if you're going to go ahead and say no,
but you aren't hurting everyone. It's actually pretty similar. You're only hurting some people.
You're hurting a lot of people actually.
You're hurting a lot of people by not reaching herd immunity, because then we're gonna have to wear like masks in perpetuity because there's gonna be a bunch of people that we could potentially affect. But when it comes to for the whole things of organ donations, majority of people in the world are not gonna need your organs. But if we're gonna go ahead and say, if you give your organs, we'll give you $50. That's essentially like gonna incentivize people that are poor yet religious to say, what's more important right now? Is it that I feed my family today, or is it that I go ahead and like follow the words of my religious text? Like, that's not a really good situation.
Okay, but the problem is we can't apply religious beliefs to like standardization within science, right? The idea is, regardless of your religious belief, that's great. But if people are dying and you have this option, then you should do it because it's the ethical choice. The idea is like blood transfusions, vaccines, organ donation, because it's ethically going to save more lives than it's not. So the process is like, we've seen what happens when we allow religious exemptions along these lines. The vaccines, blood transfusions, like people get fucked.
So it might be like a moot point actually right now too.
Yeah, but these things shouldn't be compulsory.
So I just looked up some numbers. There's 210 individuals in the United States who are 18 and up, and there's 165 million organ donors in the United States. So like 80% of the folks in the United States are actually adults, are organ donors.
Wait, are they not dying enough?
Huh?
So we just need to die more.
Are they not dying enough?
I mean, I guess that's what it is.
Well, no,
and so like with an extra 40 million help with this.
So to be clear, like there's lots of, I worked in a hospital, talked about this, actually had a whole conversation about this. And like, so there's lots of things. So there's yes, there are a lot of people who check the box, right? But then one, like not everyone's dying, right? There's only a certain number of people who die, right? And then when you die, it depends on how you die. If you're mangled, then no, and when they take it to hospital, because I was wondering if I could be my organs were good enough, right? They'll evaluate your organs, so you might be an organ donor, your organs might come intact, right? But for whatever reason, how you've lived your life or your genetics or other reasons, you still the organs might be tossed out, or I don't know what they do. Maybe not tossed out, but I don't know what they do.
I looked at the statistic for that. It's 3 in 1,000 people actually can become donors.
Yeah.
So of all the people who die, 3 in 1,000 is like what 0.0 or 0.3%. So yeah, it's a lot. But I think this gets back to the technology angle and talking about like how they're creating organs with our cells. That might be just the way to go with this. Like even opt-in versus opt-out doesn't seem to. It seems like it'll just be a drop in the bucket then, right? Like 40 more. If we could add 40 million people more.
Still important, of course. Like adding.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I guess the question is, will the controversy generated by the, like, I think we're all on the same page here. Like I think we all think that it's not a big deal, we're dead and it's not a big deal, whatever. But like I think there are a lot of people who would flinch at the thought of their loved ones being harvested like this. And I think
You get asked the question, right? If it's opt out, you get asked that question: do you want to do this or not? And if you just easily say no, it's not something.
But I mean, like, do you remember what happened when Barack Obama suggested like a healthcare plan in 2009, and they were talking about death panels, and it was like all bullshit and stuff? Like, this would just be another one of those issues, I think, right? Like, I mean, like, I agree with opt out. I just don't think it's politically
paranoia around it.
I mean, people
I
make
don't see
conspiracy
why
theories
it
about
should
everything.
be like contentious at all. Like for me,
I don't
when
think it should be either.
Well, when I got my learner's license, it came with this sticker, and I could decide whether or not to put it on or not. Like put it on or do put it on. It didn't require any additional effort on my end. All I literally have to do is, do I want to put the sticker on or not? I think it should be as easy as that, rather than depending on government employees to go ahead and ask you, because there's a chance that they may and there's a chance that they might. But going ahead and just saying, just peel the thing off and put it on the license. That's like how it should be. They didn't give me a cookie. No one came to my house and said, you're a good person. I didn't get $50. And I think that's honestly the way it should be. Because honestly, like as a student, there have been times where I would say, you know what, I really need $50. But what if I really don't want to give my organs? Like,
why? What reason would you want not to
more
give
than
your organs?
just more than just a license.
No, the reasons do matter.
Zonia, give it a try.
I would say more than just a license, by the way, because there is actually a pretty large percentage of Americans, and I'm speaking specifically of the U.S., who do not have a driver's license. So that's something to keep in mind. And just making it readily available and easy to do at various venues that we have, the state-sponsored venues. But I don't think any of these things should be compulsory. I think we start getting into problem areas where we start talking about, infringing on bodily autonomy, even posthumously, when it comes to these kinds of things. If we make them compulsory, it also contributes to the existing problems that we already have of growing distrust of the government and concerns about its encroaching on our autonomy and on our rights. So I think the more that we just make this easily accessible to people, to where they can very quickly, just like I did, just like you did, Karana, and get it onto your license or onto whatever ID you've got that make it official, we're going to get a lot more people involved in this. So
the question I still want to come back to, Katarana. Sorry. The question I want to come back to is, what reason would you, like, for example, like, there's really no reason why you wouldn't want to donate your organs. Like, you could throw an argument. I mean, and it would still be dumb.
Well, it wouldn't make sense to you, but it doesn't matter.
I personally am an atheist, but like, I'm never going to tell someone, LOL, your religion's like, I don't care about your religion. It's more important that we like save like one person potentially. And I know obviously like one person's life is really important. But I'm also saying that, like, there's a very good chance, as what Mad Laden said, only 3% of bodies are like actually able to be used.
0.3.
Huh?
0.3%. It's less than 1%.
Oh, okay. So 0.3. So we go ahead. We have my organs taken out, and then we realize it's not even worth it, and we just fucking throw it in the garbage.
Oh. Okay, but the problem comes is like, if you just say like people who are like having exemptions along religious lines, it's a non-argument, because we already make these like distinctions. We already do these things in our law that says your religious exemptions do not apply here because it has an effect.
Wait, so can I just double check? Can I double check to make sure that are we discussing a mandatory organ donation policy or an opt-out policy?
We're talking about why people would opt out of it, and then we're saying like why those reasons are valid or not.
Yeah. Because if you're talking about like enforcing a mandatory policy, right, which is what it seems to be leading to. Sometimes they're like, I don't know about you, but when I look at like making decisions like this at like a policy level, we're making a moral decision here, right? We're making a decision based on what we think is good versus bad. And when I look at moral decisions, I tend to cash them out in terms of preferences, right? And we look at things like people's preferences in general, right? Whether they have like the option like in the 0.0, like whatever it is, risk of needing like an organ versus like having the freedom to be able to make that choice changed. I can almost guarantee you, ask like majority of people, that they're going to tell you they want the ability to make that choice, right? Because sometimes people value that freedom over the risk of chance of dying from not having that organ in that very specific instance. It seems like opt-out seems to go far enough where you have the ability for people to opt out if they have like a religious decision, or even just like, I don't want to have my body cut up, it makes me feel weird. I think that's like just as reasonable. Like people's
You're gonna be dead. Who
freedom.
cares?
The way political discourse is happening in this country right now, I would actually be afraid to bring this to the spotlight because a party might like see the idea and like fewer people would actually opt into giving their donors.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna put forward a ridiculous hypothetical that's gonna make everyone in the chat mad and Wordy mad, right? No, this is hypothetical, right? Wordy, would you be willing to donate your body after you're dead to serial rapists as a sex doll in a way to prevent them from raping more people in the future?
Do you just want to create a hypothetical just to piss people off, or you want to actually provide a substantial argument?
This is an actual legitimate argument, because the point here is that there's like, that's like hard enough. I know that half the people here, half the chatters just gave me that fucking look, and most people in the fucking chat, I'm sure, looked at their screen like that, because we understand that there is still some sanctity that we afford people's dead bodies as property, right? Because these things are people that like own, right, that are theirs, and like even like libertarians make like really silly points about this, but we still have some like ownership over our bodies, things we wouldn't prefer to happen after we died. I know I wouldn't prefer to be some kind of like rape cadaver, right? I'm sure that you wouldn't prefer to be that. Like, just saying who cares you're dead doesn't count for anything towards what people have under their preferences.
Okay, but the problem comes when you're trying to compare serial rapers versus organ donors. There's not a serious comparison, because organ donation saves people's lives. Serial rapers, like, we're talking about organ donators. We're not talking about serial rapists. So, like, you make the comparison. Your argument really doesn't hold up, because there's not a major comparison to be made.
It's the same argument. Who cares, bro? They're dead.
Pretend that we didn't go into this direction and go back to the whole. We're just gonna like go back in time like 60 seconds.
This is why we don't talk to Australians.
And then
no, but it's argument.
Okay,
why the argument is silly?
Let's go back in time 2 minutes. None of this happened. Let's go back to what was my point?
Chris, give it a try.
Look, we are assuming that there's going to be tons and tons of religious people who just opt out, when that's not the case. Like, there's tons of religious people who actually want to donate their organs. Like, there's going to be so small of a percentage of people who actually opt out, it's not even going to matter. And this whole idea of like, we're going to cause people to create conspiracy theories around this. People can like create conspiracy theories around everything. We're not going to be able to stop that. Like there's just conspiracy theories about the Teletubbies. I don't know, like that's not a.
So if we're already getting 80% of the population donating their organs, the question is it worth broaching the topic and risking any kind of conspiracy versus just letting things be the way they are? Because it's
the way things are is not good, right?
80% of the people in this country are opting in to donate.
It's still not enough. It's still not enough.
I mean, no, it's not. We have to get a technological edge on this. Like I said earlier, they're converting animal parts into human organs. So once that happens, everything's solved. But until then, I don't think we should touch this.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I think what Drew bringing up is a good idea, and it's going to come in the future. I'm just saying for right now,
already done it. Like it's already being grown. Hold on.
How many more minutes we got?
Yeah, just to increase the odds,
12.
right?
12.
All right.
Just to increase the odds, and we don't need to like take consent away from people to do it. We don't even need to incentivize people. It's just a matter of getting the question in their faces and actually giving making sure they answer that question, right? That's all we need to do for right now, and then we can get to that future. But I don't think forcing people is good at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think forcing. We need to be critical, basically teach them criticalness. Like basically idea, hey, why do you really not want to donate your organs? Like, why do you care? Like, your organs are going to save somebody's life.
People have all sorts of irrational fears, right?
Yeah, people have irrational fears. That's why you talk to them and say like, hey, that's a problem.
No matter how much information you give somebody, there's going to be someone who's going to go.
No, but you can significantly reduce the degree of irrationality.
Well, we don't need to condemn people's religions.
I would be concerned also with okay, let's say we make this opt out, okay, and then how long until okay, well, this is such a good thing, it's had such a positive influence. How long until socially we're basically pushing people to be hey, why the fuck are you opting out? Why would you opt out? What kind of person are you? And then it could become later on the majority of us agree, so let's just make it mandatory.
No, they would never. That would never happen. It's
I mean, if the majority of people wanted to vote it in, it would.
This is exactly the type of argument we would have. People would turn this into a political thing, and the Oregon.
Well, we're already debating about it, so it's already political.
I would say if this happened on a national scale, this would become politicized somehow. It would, and then all
everything's
of a sudden,
politicized.
Totally would.
And then
everything is politicized.
People would stop donating their organs. I promise.
We act like Republicans don't need organ donations.
The
they
nature of
too.
The nature of life
no,
is
I'm not making this right.
So, like,
this shouldn't even be right or left. I mean, I'm just raising questions that people would have.
But
no,
but
it, like,
Colorado, give it a try.
Yeah, COVID shouldn't have been a left or right thing, but for some reason it was. But nonetheless, I think opt out, perfect. I think it's amazing if you make it very easy. If you make it easy to opt out, I'm not saying like the way that I've seen opt out in some places where you have to go to a whole nother location, 40 miles away from your house, stand in a 5-hour line. It should not be like that. But if you can, go online. Just have it, go online, make a phone call, text to go ahead and opt out, then that's good as long as it's very very accessible. But I do think people should be able to go ahead and perform within their religious rituals, because let's say even if it does end up potentially saving, there's a whole argument it could save more lives if it is within my religion to I have to be cremated with all of my organs. You cannot convince somebody, no, I don't give a fuck about your religion, because it's not going to happen. There's no way that we would ever let that slide. If there were super orthodox Christians, let's say somewhere in the Bible it said that you need to have all your organs, this would not slide. It would never be able to be mandatory.
So if I may say, I was with you on opt out, but I'm saying we need to teach people and basically say, hey, your opt out reasons are dumb. Not even covering the religious side, but from specifically is we've already have case law that affects how scientific standards are applied to religious exemptions. The reality is we in a legal setting, we don't give a fuck about your religious exemptions. So as a whole.
But they do care about those things.
No, we don't, because we see for example, the blood transfusions and the vaccines, and we've seen what happens when people try to cite religious exemptions, and if we hold the same standard, then it'll be fine.
That only applies to children.
But if I said right now, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm a 23-year-old person and I don't want a blood transfusion. If I'm going to die, let me die. Is the state going to say no? I'm not letting you die.
Okay, but we're talking about. Okay, I'm talking about the religious exemptions specifically here in that context. The context.
I meant the religious exemption. You said the whole Jehovah Witness. So, as an adult, if I said I don't want blood transfusions, just let me fucking KO. I'm done.
Yeah, if you just want to, if you just want to die, there's some weird ethicality that goes on there. But specifically, if you want to exclude children
for a religious purpose,
if you want to exclude children from blood transfusions, then you're saying, hey, that's a no go.
So in 2019, the Trump administration actually signed off on something giving a lot more religious exemptions than before. I'm trying to go through the document right now, but I think this is counter to your point, Wordy. I don't think religious exemptions is actually that.
Okay, so Trump fucked up shit, so we're gonna have to fix that. So.
I mean, the thing is, the debate was happening before the Trump administration got into it. So I think there's a lot more to religious exemptions.
Yeah, but I
can't.
I would have to find the case law.
Right. I mean, I don't have a background in this realm, so I can't point to specific instances where religious exemptions were used in healthcare. But I do know that it's a hot button topic amongst folks who have these concerns. So I posted the whole thing. The ruling. It's a 60-page. Oh no, it's huge. This is a 200-page thing. But that's not good.
I'd say we spend the next 7 minutes reading it together.
Wow,
wait,
7 minutes.
I actually looked into.
People read?
I actually started to look into this as to why organs are rejected. There's a study. The Atlantic did an article of when donated organs go to waste, and because this is actually pretty interesting. There are multiple things that go into it, just for the audience's knowledge, right? Part of it is distance, right? So like getting it from California to, I don't know, New York is quite difficult. Like in time, there's only a certain time period that organs are still viable after the death of the person, right? So they have like 11. I forgot about this from my hospital days. There's like 11 organ areas, like organ transplant areas the country is divided into, right? The U.S. I don't know about Canada. That's divided into. And some regions have more available organs than other regions. But the real interesting thing, because there's a study done about this, right, is like when an organ, right, gets to a transplant center, like how often doctors reject it. So they did the study, and it's found like it ranged from 56% at some centers to 16% like accepted at other centers. And they suspect the reason is that there are their survivability rates. So basically, all centers that perform organ transplants get a rating, and that rating is based on like the 1 year survivability of each patient, right? Like so, like after the transplant, how long do they survive? They survive for 1 year. Okay, good. And if your rating goes down, like if a certain number of people don't survive, then apparently you're a bad center, and then you can miss out on patients, miss out on funding, and you can be shut down eventually, right? So it's it looks like and I haven't finished reading this entire article, but at least one theory is that some centers don't want to risk doing transplants on less than ideal patients, right? With less than ideal organs, because some organs, right, while they may be viable, right, let's say they come up from a person who's doing like intravenous drugs or something, that's like less than like stellar than a person who was just lived a healthy life. So that's a bit more information for you. Okay.
You know, I'm perfectly fine with this. I think maybe I'm just wrong and I'm just tired right now. I'm fine with accepting that, but I will hold my position until proven otherwise. So yeah.
So I'm going to bring in a weird angle here, if you guys don't mind. A part of this really makes me feel like we get into areas of bodily autonomy, where we start, and I get that you can opt out. You still have the independence to opt out. But if you are, let's just kind of look at the worst case scenario, not always the best way to look at things, but if you turn 18 or whatever and you qualify to be a donor at that point or whatever age it is, and you're automatically opted in, and then before you get the opportunity to really consider the consequences and opt yourself out, something happens and you die, then you're a donor at that point, right? Depending on whether or not you've got organs that can be used, you're still a donor, and you haven't really had the opportunity to make the independent decision to opt out and not be a donor.
What
and
would cause you
that
to rethink
seems
that?
like it's
Like your religion?
Well,
I mean, adopting a new religion, I guess.
could
But
be
like,
religion,
how
could be
often would that
anything.
happen?
Could be someone who considers the body sacred. Well, it doesn't really matter. It could, if it even happens to just a few people, it's still something you have to consider. It comes to a question of, perhaps in their perspective, human decency,
So this would be a thing that
or
applies
bodily
right now,
autonomy or sacred body.
right? Like, so this is like a concern that exists like now because people are signed on to be organ donors and they could change their mind. I'm sure the process would be just visit the DMV and say, "Hey, I want a new license without the donor Dogan." Would I say organ donor or
Donor,
whatever?
organ owner.
Organ owner. I guess I'm not already the only person who's tired.
Hey, I'm running on 5 hours of sleep, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean,
But
5
you're
hours
still
is good.
opting in right now. Like you go for your license and it gives you a little checkbox and you make the conscious decision, yes or no. But if it's opt out, that's not the case.
right?
Right.
You can like accidentally
if
change
you're automatically if you're like automatically a donor, through whatever means, either because you turned a certain age or something,
Well, once
you
you
then need to make the conscious decision to opt out.
once you
it's a good
convert
point,
to
right?
whatever
Like-
religion,
Oh.
you can go and change that.
Let me ask a question. So the idea is like the dead body is because it's a former human. It's important in some way, right? That's the basic concept. So the question is, why? Why do we think these dead bodies that do not contain the person at all
Now,
in any way
remember,
anymore?
so
Why
this
are
is
they
a faith
sacred?
thing, right? Like, I could not logically argue against this. It's a matter of faith. There's people who have faith in this
Okay,
concept.
but even like people who don't have faith, right? We still consider them to be sacred in some way.
Hey,
Like, right?
maybe. I don't know. Like,
No, we still do.
going back to
This is the whole thing.
Keo's,
So-
crazy meme suggestion.
No, but that's why that's why we engage in burial, right? We still hold this sacred tradition that people deserve a burial itself. But
Well,
It's not a sacred tradition.
It's like, people are just like choosing how they want to go.
Go ahead.
This is the thing that we specifically have like thought of as that person for like years and years, sometimes decades. It's like this body is this person, right? Like there is some like we understand there's obviously some qualia and whatever's going on there, right? That makes them that person. But like having that correlation be years and years and years and years isn't necessarily a sacred thing. It's just something that the mind does. This is still that person. This is how we still see them as that whatever that cadaver is or whatever, right? If you want to say it's not the same person, that's understandable and fine. But like we still have that correlation in our mind. It's not sacred. It has nothing to do with sacred. It's the way that we like think of things.
So the question then is it inherent to
It could be
believing
sacred
this,
for a lot of
or is it
people, too.
are we socialized into believing this? Like believing the idea of like the human
Socialized,
body.
it just is.
So that is the round.
Do we
Okay.
want to go down this?
All right. So that's the
Okay.
round. Thanks for everyone here. First of all, if you've just found this stream, maybe you're enjoying the content, right? Well, then hit that follow button. Hit that follow button right now, and make sure notifications are on because I do this 6 days a week. I give you a lot of content. Don't want you to miss out. Okay, so hit that follow button right this second if you haven't done so yet. But okay, to the audience. We are going to go into our next elimination round. But first, you will be voting. Okay, I'm going to put a link in chat. You're going to vote for which of these amazing individuals has going to have broken dreams. It's going to have to go away without the crown, right? So you're going to be voting for whoever you want to stay, right? You're going to be voting for the person who's most popular, the person you want to keep, not who you want to kick, all right? Keep, not kick. So
it's opt in, not opt out.
Oh boy. So whoever you found the most interesting, the funniest, smartest, whatever, right? The prettiest, doesn't matter. The beardiest, doesn't matter. However, the criteria.
Implying I'm not literally all of those things.
Wait, pretty? I thought you're handsome.
Look at these eyes, my brother. Look at them.
I said you're handsome. How about you listen for half a second more?
He is
both, okay.
He is extremely pretty. All right, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so look, it is what it is, right? That's why he's been a stream queen in the past.
I'm affirming his gender.
So we'll put that link in the chat. When I put that link in the chat, I'll start a countdown. 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to vote. Don't wait till afterwards because no one will care afterwards, okay? So vote then. Vote early. Don't vote late. I'm putting the link in chat. Everyone, please vote right now. Vote right now. Link is in chat. Hopefully everything's good with that link. Anyway, go ahead. Link. 5 minutes left on the clock. Putting it on. And
by the way, quick.
What?
Sorry, go on. I thought you were done. No, I thought you were done.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask Wordy something.
Okay.
How'd you feel about like human taxidermy?
Human taxidermy?
Yeah, we like.
I feel like I wouldn't be okay with human taxidermy. I'm not okay really with like animal taxidermy either because I feel like it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like
with human taxidermy if it's opted into.
It's like the idea is like I feel like it has like psychological effects on people because you look at a human like that and you're just like fuck, that's kind of like it's like when you look at like first a mannequin like you look at Abraham Lincoln statue, it's already fucking creepy as hell. But then you like if you do like making actual human replicas based on the actual human being, no, I don't want to see that shit. I'm good. I'm gonna throw up in the back room.
Yeah, but what if the people? That's the thing, right? It's like, what if the people around them want to have like some reminder of that person? It's fucking weird. Exactly. Like it's a corpse. It's like there's something we put into it.
Thing, right? Like the guy who like turned people into plastic and then turned it into an art piece, and it still gets like showcased around the country. It's like plastination, I think is what they called it. Pretty gross. Oh, by the way, for the record, when I go, after my organs are donated, I want them to cut off my head and put it in a freezer. So if you want to help pay for that, please feel free to sub and donate bits.
To be honest, just toss me in a pyre after I'm dead. I don't fucking care.
So I was,
Nobody
I
is
want
sacred.
to fertilize the
Can we-
earth. I want to be food for worms.
Facts, dude. Can we just shame people who are getting buried in caskets though? Like,
Yeah, you know, like you just look at that
you,
dead body.
you
It's like,
fed
hey,
off
dead
of
body.
Mother Earth your entire life, and you don't want to give your body back.
Hey, dead
Okay.
body, stop being useless. Go
Yeah.
be beneficial to the world.
Yeah.
You just
Go
like
be
scream at that dead body.
I
potting
was
soil.
looking more into the article. I think it's really interesting in terms of these rejections, right? Because now it becomes a matter of economics rather than saving people's lives. So like there was like in the article they talked about how these three large transplant centers got like a bad rating, right, one year, and then like the next year, like they rejected 30% more organs, right? But like the people who still need them still exist, right? Those people just don't get an organ, right? And you're not responsible for the number of patients who simply die on the list not getting an organ, right? So it's a possibility that people could have been saved, right? But to keep their rating, keep that 1 year rating, the doctors rejected an organ, and that person simply died, but it doesn't go into the rating at all. So people are for that article we're talking about some other rating system other than the 1 year survivability, saying that the efficacy of transplants have gone up since the system was created, and that isn't may not be the best way to judge if a center is actually doing a good job, right? So they may be trying to find out other ways to measure these centers that don't encourage them to just start rejecting organs out of hand and people dying on the list. And when they reject an organ, you, the patient who needs that organ, you don't even know it was offered to you. You'll like never know. The doctor rejects it, but you don't know. So you could have been waiting. Maybe you would have accepted this, right? But you'll never find out. So it's actually kind of pretty fucked up now that I know about this. Yeah.
So I mean, I guess that's where we just need to fix the bottleneck somehow. It sounds like to address.
Well, no,
problem.
it's saying it's not the bottlenecks; it's the economics of it, right? Like, whether like if someone dies, they don't want to take any sort of risk, right? They become risk adverse because of the incentives. So we have to change the incentives so they aren't so risk adverse. Because if someone does die on that might be due to their incompetence, maybe, or it's just like whatever. But one or the other, if they're just rejecting like a massive number of organs, and no one's even getting a chance of survival, and isn't that a worse system, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it's not great.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
So we would have to look at the reasons why organs are getting like rejected, because like there's already the process, like it's very complicated to like transplant because like human bodies are weird, and so from there it's like, how do we do that? So are there any like technologies developing to where like you can basically transplant and like more effectively ensure
Please,
with less degrees of compatibility?
One second. Please, everyone, vote. Now's the time. We only have a few seconds left. Vote right now. If you haven't done so yet, vote right this second. Vote right now. After
vote.
I refresh, it doesn't matter if you didn't vote because I don't care. All right. So vote right this second. Vote right this second. We only have a few seconds left on the clock. Vote right now. Okay. I guess that's time. All right. Let's take a look at this. All right.
Put me on the bottom. I know it's coming.
Oh boy. Look. Wardy. First of all, I think Wardy does a bang up job. Like I honestly, I think you do a really good job.
I'll give him on this one. I wasn't that great. I'll give him this one. I wasn't that great.
I think in general, Wardy actually does a really, really good job. So I don't know why the audience does not vote for him. He like gives a lot of content. It's really good. I don't know what
it's homophobia.
Must be. All right. But thanks for participating one with the other. At the top, once again, our maybe future stream queen, Katarana, sitting here, number one. All right, she's giving you jazz hands. All right, that's what she does when she wins. So, all right, good choice. Katarana was actually really amazing there. And next, oh boy, coming up in the world, our good friend Kyo-san. Oh man, number two.
Let's go.
Oh shit! Sorry.
It was those Destiny level analogies that was
Sorry, audience. I clicked the wrong button. Like as soon as he raised his arms, I'm like, let's go to another scene. Okay.
Gotta hide these like world-shattering biceps and tries from the chat, you know.
All right, let's put
He does
you.
look good.
Let's put you in the winners row. Okay, only winners at the top row. Sorry about that, American Nacho. All right, do better in the future, and you can come back. All right.
I don't know what to say, man. Shame people for not donating their organs.
Oh, for fuck's sake, guys! Why with these? With these ties, I hate them. All right, I don't know. I gotta figure out a better way to tie break. But at the bottom we have Chris Cosmo. Chris Cosmo, thanks for participating so far. But maybe you'll survive. Wordy comes in next, and tying is Nacho and Matt Ladden. I don't. These ties kill me every time. All right, we'll try it again. So Matt Ladd, Nacho, not rock paper scissors. DM me right this second. Okay, you already missed it. This second, try it again. All right, Matt Ladd's done it. Nacho, this second, anytime. All right, he did it. All right, let's take a look. Hopefully, oh my god, please, don't be the same one. Oh, for fuck's sake, do it again. Okay. Oh god. Send another one. Oh god, both of you, please.
This is why you need rock paper scissors lizard spot.
Do you play chess, Nacho? Do you want to play a blood game?
Oh my god. Oh god, stop spamming rock.
Yeah,
okay, come on. Just.
Wait, do you really? Can we do this? Oh.
Oh, you bitches! All right, you know what?
Just get the Google coin flip and put it on the screen. Okay.
I mean, the thing is, wait.
I think I am.
I'll play chess.
I'm going to do the.
Yeah,
I think I'll
play
do
chess.
that. I'm going to do the Google.
Wait, if he said rock, I won, bro.
I'm going to do the Google coin flip. I think it's probably the best.
Oh come on!
But
I won it.
You both said rock. Oh, the second time.
Because...
Yes, you did say paper. Okay, all right, we'll take it. All right.
What?
Look, you kept spamming rock. I don't know what to tell you. You kept spamming rock. What do you think was going to happen? What do you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? You kept spamming rock.
Actually biased against me.
Anyway, Madeline, you're already in position, and the loser circle. All right. 30 seconds on the clock. You will beg on your knees to these two winners, right? These two winners at the top, as to why you should get the privilege of going with them to the next round. All right.
Hold on. I'm gonna get on my knees in a way where everybody can see I'm actually on my knees. Oh, here, I got this. All right.
Just be tall.
I know this is awful.
Yeah.
Dear Katarana and Kiyo-san, you guys are the best. I do humbly here. I'm just gonna put this down real quick. I'm gonna bow down. Pretend this board here. I'll draw your face on this board, so it's like symbolic that I'm bowing. Here, I got this. So here are your faces. I'll give you hair, and I'll give you a big old beard. And I'm just saying.
You've already gone over 30 seconds.
Look, no, I have not. I know I haven't. You guys are the best. Here's me actively worshiping you on stream right here. I'm showing my belly. I'm saying please. Except
I don't know if it's gonna be funny or like. I feel like it's like properly humbled, but like I think it's like it'd just be like really funny to just vote you out after that. Put in all the effort, put in the guts.
Really tried.
Matt Ladd, just for reference.
Technical difficulties. I broke something.
Matt Ladd, just for reference. How tall are you?
5'11".
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I mean, it's pretty average.
It's a little taller than average, but it's cool. All right, moving on. Wordy once again.
Let me see. I can actually. Yep, I can be on my knees. So okay, first off, I have the coolest T-shirt. Okay, it's called the Supernatural and Scooby-Doo crossover episode. 2 is my hair. Okay, from one beautiful person to another. Okay, we have amazing hair, amazing facial hair, and all that shit. 3 is I've made good arguments, and I'm trying to go one step further. First off, I made it to second round my first time, first round in my first time, and you know what? I need to make it to the third round. You want somebody? You want to show how good your arguments are? I will be there. Show me how good your arguments are.
Okay, all right, Chris Cosmo.
Look, I increased my energy, interjected more. I had good arguments. I just don't have the clout and the following right now. But I'm telling you, keep me in, and it will continue to grow. I got more votes this time. A few more people were like, "Yeah, this guy's good." But I don't know how to contend with the amount of clout Kyo has and the intelligent arguments that Katarana has been making. Like, she's been thinking about these topics for a minute, and I just joined an hour before. Like, I just had an invite like an hour before this started. I don't know if you had time to study this, but it seems like you have the way you are making these arguments. So, like, just give me a chance. I will continue to grow. I will continue to get better at this. And yeah, chat, give me more of a chance. I don't know what to say. I think I made great arguments this time around. So yeah, I'm not gonna worship you like Mad Lad did. I don't think that.
Okay, all right. Sorry, bullshit. That was some grade A groveling. All right, good work there. But anyway, so to Katarana and to Kyo, if you could DM me who you're tossing, right? One name each, and be quick about it. That'd be great. Yes, great.
Just toss Mad Lad. He's mean.
I'm trying to find your name.
Oh my god. Go on. Any second now. Oh boy. I see Katarana typing. Oh boy. Okay. We got one name. We got one name in. We got one name in. And Katarana just taking forever. Oh god.
I need somebody to hold my hand. How about you, American Nacho? You want to hold my hand? I'm gonna reach my hand through here like this, and then no, other hand. You gotta use the other hand. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. All right, we're clutching. I mean, just keep me on. Hold me here. Just hold me here. I don't want to go.
I stand by my own merit of anarcho-communism.
All right. Well, Nacho, apparently you're terrible luck because Mad Lad, you got tossed. Specifically because you were a threat. I'm told you were a threat.
How could you? I thought we were something special. Yeah? This is not okay. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna try. Just.
And the next one. Oh boy, wordy. Well, look,
I'm dropping the socials.
Yeah.
No, I'm dropping the socials.
Yeah. Dropping those socials and saying, hey, stick around because this man is going to the next round. Chris, it's been nice knowing you. You are leaving. Wordy here. He did it, right? He said this is the third time going to the third round. These two kind of individuals make that a possibility. All right. Look, he did a better job.
Joe-san, I love you. I take back everything I say about Australians.
Oh boy.
You forgot that, didn't you, Kyo? Yeah, that's fine. I never say anything bad about Australians. That's cool.
I told you, stop falling for that accent, man. I know it's beautiful. I know it soothes the ears. You could tell me just about anything in Australian with an Australian accent. I'd probably just agree with it. I'd go right along.
Outros.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. Look, I'm not discouraged at all. I'll just go back into the hyperbolic time chamber of Prime's open chat, get my power level up, train some more, come back, build in a bigger following. You know what I mean? Like, this is fun. And yeah, just follow me if you want to hear some more great arguments that chat just tried to ignore this time around. Come follow me at Chris Cosmo. That's with a 0. I do mostly art, so you probably won't hear any political talk. But come by, challenge me.
Okay, all right. Mad Lad.
Oh, it's hard to go. It really is. So my website is hypechess.com. We're offering free trials for chess classes. Sign up and I will literally teach you chess. It's fun. We have a great time. The class is awesome. I stream. There's my thing up there. You can just click on my name and chat. I'm active in Prime chat often enough. Yeah, it's been a blast. Thanks for having me again. And I guess I'll see you guys soon.
Everyone,
I will have my revenge, Katarana. I know what you did.
Mad Lad, what was your what's your elo, just out of curiosity?
My what?
Elo, out of curiosity.
Oh, so my lead
rating.
chest is 2100. My
Damn, dude.
USDF is like
Lead chest is
1800.
inflated. What's your chest.com?
So I use chess.com. It's at 2000, but I don't really use it that often. And I mean, honestly, the lead instructor is 300 points higher rated than me anyway. So like, I mean, she'll be doing a lot more teaching. She'll be doing more of the teaching. And then if you're really good and you want more lessons, I've got people who are like 600 or 700 points higher rated than I am. So I don't know.
Hypechess.com. Seriously, check out his business. Right, he's doing good work there, helping people out. Let's. What?
Thanks, Prime. I appreciate it. Yeah. Come for a chess class sometime. I know you got nothing going on Sundays.
Okay.
So wait, Madlad, just to be clear, it's like 2,500 for Grandmaster, right?
So there's norms.
Oh boy, guys,
and it's
we gotta go.
I'll try putting context to help him advertise. Okay. Sorry. What do we mean?
I'm gonna jump out.
Appreciate it. I'm really good. Is what's going on. I play good chess. I can play blindfold. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys later.
See ya, buddy.
Good luck. I don't know how to push the button.
Okay. Leah, thank you for being so kind as to gift a hot tier 1 gift sub to Zonia Live. That's really, really kind of you. Thanks so much. I missed that. It was 10 minutes ago. Holy crap. But thank you.
Yeah, my sub just expired.
Oh, okay. You were sub previously? Oh, all right. Well, thanks.
Well, now you gotta go dump them in the cadaver organs.
Okay. So, all right. Next topic. All right. I haven't actually been trouble figuring out which one I should go with. All right. Let's try the third party one. See what happens there. If third parties in the U.S. became viable by whatever means necessary, right? Do you think they would be worth supporting rather than reforming the two major parties? 25 minutes left on the clock. Go ahead.
100%. I think that it's we definitely need more parties within the states. I think there's no point in going ahead and reforming the parties because no matter what, you're just going to end up ostracizing people. As you see, there's a lot of disagreement within the Democratic Party. Some people want it to be more progressive. Some people want it to stay more centrist. And I don't think that there's any type of reconciliation that can be done there because no matter what, some people are going to be left behind. So I think it's more important that we go ahead and create additional parties where people can truly like see the representation that they want rather than just kind of getting this flaccid, okay, I guess I have to support this person. Fuck. Okay.
Flaccid is an interesting word, but go ahead.
Flaccid.
Okay. So like what I'd argue is, and I've made this point before on the chat, but I think that third parties are actually probably not that great usually. Funnily enough, the Republican Party, like we can see in the general election, that they literally cost them the general. That there were like several states where like libertarian candidates came in and took enough of a vote share away from Republicans such that they literally lost the presidency because of the Libertarian Party. Usually third parties only exist to attack the parties that are the closest to their ideology. So for example, in Australia, I'm going to be making this very Australia adjacent because we have third parties, we have viable third parties, and we have preference choice voting, right? Ranked choice voting. So it's as democratic as possible, right? Now, like you have like the Greens who literally only spend their time shitting on the Labor Party, and who actively only work to sabotage the Labor Party. So like one of the things that was a problem is we could have had significantly more radical climate change policy passed while Labor were in power from 07 to 11, if the Greens hadn't like fucked it up, right? And here's a good example in like recent time is like, this is more local politics, is there was the most progressive member in the House, Jackie Trad from South Brisbane. She couldn't lose to a Liberal Party politician in her district, right? So what the Liberal parties did is they made people preference the Greens over them, right? That was their vote strategy, was just to make Labor lose Jackie Trad because Jackie Trad was so incredibly effective in the Queensland Parliament that it was better for them to kick her out and put a Greens person in her place, right? Who is significantly more ineffective than actually having like a very good politician in place. So third parties usually only exist, and I'm going to make a lot of people mad here, to just basically be like, shitty moral counters to these parties who don't actually get policy passed through themselves because they're not significant enough to do so, who only hamper those parties' ability to pass effective policy. They don't drag anyone left or right or whatever, right? They don't drag anyone outside the Overton window. In fact, they force people to coalesce around the center because the center parties are usually ones end up working together to pass policy, not the far left and center left parties, right? And that nothing just gets done at all, right? So, like, I prefer, out of a function of democracy, to have the ability to have ranked choice votings and have those third parties. But as a political tool, they're terrible, they're dog shit, and I'd love to see them gone.
I don't think that's true. We had example. Yeah, I'll go super quick. Just like in Canada, we have multiple parties. Obviously, there are the two major ones, but in the early 2010s, the NDP was able to go ahead and become the majority party over the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party is the one that Trudeau's in, and we were actually able to go ahead and pass a lot more progressive policies when the NDP was in power, because finally there was a progressive party that didn't have to sit there and negotiate with the Liberals, the more centrist people. No, everybody was on the same page within that party, and then they were able to go ahead and actually pass the progressive policies that they always wanted to pass.
So what year was that? Just quickly, sorry.
Kills no. Okay, we've let you interrupt us enough.
Yeah.
Let Zonia go first.
Oh no, I was just asking the year. I just want to be able to have a look at it.
I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so even though I don't think third parties are actually viable with our existing system, I do think that they would help a lot. I think Katarina mentioned that it would also help with the apathy that we deal with. One of the big problems that we have with people not voting is them feeling like they don't have anybody that's worth voting on. They feel like all they've really got are usually two or a few very corrupt, heavily biased options that don't actually represent them. The more that we have of alternate parties, the more options that we have for people to feel like they can actually be represented. So I think it's very important to actually have third-party representation. I think that's probably one of the most important things that we could have in order to bolster the desire for people to participate in government and to vote and to choose people to represent them. I think part of the big apathy problem we have right now is because of the lack of options, the lack of choices. And even though I do say this at the same time, I also will freely admit that I don't think it's actually possible, the way that our system is structured, for us to have third parties be viable. But it has happened on rare occasions in our past where third parties have taken the lead.
Well, it seems like too, like in a lot of places where they're multi-party, they end up forming like big coalitions that are basically one side or the other. So you basically like back where you started to some degree. Like I think it would probably be more beneficial to like the reform the parties that we currently have, and because then we can get things done. We don't have to go through like the explosion and aftermath of whatever the fuck would happen with like third parties. Like even though I feel it too, like I would much rather have someone who like that I actually feel represents me, because I don't really see that from either party right now.
Yeah, so the bigger issue as a whole is like, for one, I'm an anarcho-communist. I don't believe that we should go through the electoral methods because it just doesn't really work. But if we're working with the hypothetical, the idea is like viable parties, like these third parties have real ability to actually take the presidency or take any significant offices. So a big problem that we would have to do in order to like resolve that is like deconstruct the electoral method that we have right now and increase like availability to other parties. But if we have other third parties, then it would be good, because one is like they're like without the structure as it is, they're naturally going to challenge the parties that are in power. And then two is, if we have more parties, then we can have a more policy pushes that are not going to be co-opted. Like it's the idea of manufactured consent. The idea is, even if we do get to like have a democratic input, we as a whole do not get to make a lot of choices within it. And from there is, if we have more third parties, we are going to have more democracy, because we're going to have stronger input and stronger like degrees to which we can input and elect our representatives, even though I think as a whole it's not really democratic in the electoral method.
So like One thing is like I think is like important is that like in two-party coalitions you can still have areas that like still represent you. So for example, the Congressional Progressive Caucus is now the largest caucus within the Democratic Party, and as such have significant weight over Democratic Party policies, right? Caucuses can still exist in like significant two-party systems. These aren't like two-party systems in mandated. What I'm saying is like if you still have like two parties, even though you have like some preference choice voting, and those caucuses can still represent your interests. It's just that most people don't see caucus, they see Democratic Party.
Well, the problem comes is even if you have caucuses themselves, they're still going to be limited within the party itself. The degree to which they can effectively advocate for the positions, like you can say like the big caucus is like able to do this, but you have to look at all the other caucuses that people care about, and they're being overshadowed. And even if they include some of those policies, the degree to which they're going to emphasize those is going to be significantly limited. So the idea is having third parties that are able to take on those issues that people care about, and then from there is like push against the established system, and also like be able to push in their own policies. And from there, having more parties and having more relative switches is a good thing, because it's like if you're believing in like democratic like capitalism, you're basically saying competition in policies is good.
Yeah.
So like the response here is just like the ability for them to do more is generally like preferable, right? Because the ability of like passing policy is important, and being able to consistently pass policy so that countries are able to like react to issues going on is generally what you want. You don't want like massive hardways being put in the way of policy being put just because you've got third parties pulling on it saying it's not like extreme enough, and then those policies don't get passed at all because they get fucking yeeted out the next election because they didn't do enough in the election cycle, which is what happened to Labour.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say. Oh yeah, I just think that the third parties are a better idea overall because, like, let's say, Nacho did say, oh, sometimes you have to go ahead and form these coalitions, and when you have to form coalitions, you're kind of at the same spot. But you actually have this scenario in which, these other parties that you might have to form coalitions with actually have a decent say, because in the current system that we're in, no matter what, okay, Republicans are going to stick together. So if there's a policy that the Democrats are giving, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, I'm going to have to go ahead and vote for it, even though it's not really within my, my actual moral framework, or, within my belief system. But when we're going ahead and having coalitions, you have this whole other side that says, no, this is our side. We are not budging. If you want to pass anything, you're going to have to go ahead and like concede with us. Whereas with our current system, everybody's just going ahead and always making compromises on all sides rather than moving further to the left. We're always moving more to the center. And I think that when we have multiple party systems, we have an ability to get slightly less milquetoast policy pushed through.
Do you think that like what the policy Biden's been passing has been like milquetoast or like slightly left to center?
It's been significantly conciliatory. Like even though it's like a little more progressive, the degree to which it's being progressive is still significantly hindered. And so the idea is that having other third parties put into the mix, you basically would have Biden have more pressure, more emphasis to like put a little more progressive and even a little more radical. So that's the problem, is if we have to work within the two-party system, they're going to be significantly limited. And like if you try to bring in new policies, the degree to which they're going to be like relatively put in, it's not going to be significant.
So
yeah, and I wouldn't say that it's currently milquetoast, but I'm just saying if we had like third parties, there would be the possibility of getting something a bit closer to what Biden's original plan was, rather than the concessions that are currently being made.
I just want to, can I take 2 seconds to yell at someone in chat? Is that okay? I know this is like a panel show. Sure. Okay. No sex. I'm sorry, but if you've ignored like the American Rescue Plan, the infrastructure bill as not significant policy, you need to pull your head out of your ass and look at the world around you. Holy fucking shit. If you don't think the child tax credit wasn't one of the largest expansions of the fucking welfare state in the last 20 years, please read and use the All right. I'm sorry. We can continue on.
Based.
I like a kitty.
Yeah. Very adorable.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say probably everything has been going further left, not far, but I mean, it's definitely in that direction. Like everything we're doing has been more and more progressive. Like from 8, especially from like Obama's 8 years, like moving forward, like we've been definitely going left of center not.
Okay, so the thing is, like, even if we have been pushing left to center, it's like the degree to which it's matching people's needs, right? In order to match people's needs, in order to get like access to healthcare, access to like education, improved all these conditions that people have, you would have a need to have a significant level of reform and change. However, the degree to which it's changing is not significant. Like when we look at access to healthcare, like even Obama pushed that thing. There is significant conciliatory policies towards corporations and towards the Republican Party. And then whenever they lost power, the Republicans came in and like took away a lot of it. And then from there, we're having the issue is like people may have access, but the degree to which their needs are being met in the healthcare system is really not that great.
Yeah, like it would be nice if I could just wave a magic wand and there was like a bunch of like extra parties, but it just seems like the only way it would happen would one of the parties would basically deteriorate or fracture. And that would be dangerous for a period of time, because then only one party would have enough support, like majority support, to like just go, have everybody elected that they wanted elected or whatever.
So, like, what I point to, and I'm going to make some people mad. This isn't pointed at anyone in this room, by the way, right now. I'm going to point to Israel. I know that people like don't care about Israel now that they've signed a ceasefire, and everyone's forgotten about what's happening to the Palestinians right now, just because it's like out of the news cycle, so there's no discourse going on. But if anyone's like pointed to the fact that like Israel is like absolutely fractured by the amount of parties it has. They haven't been able to pass any effective policy for several years. And right now, whether you think it's good or not, I think it's fucking bait, because Netanyahu and Likud suck. Is that Netanyahu, who won a plurality of the vote, right now is being kicked out of like the leadership of the country. Whether you think that's good or not is up to you. But like, they haven't been able to pass policy. The person who won the plurality of the vote isn't in charge of the country. It's like a lot of these like third parties can like present problems to actually doing things electorally. Right now,
okay,
just a quick note: Netanyahu getting kicked out is fucking base. Fuck that cunt. Fuck Likud.
Yeah, fuck him. But also, like the problem comes less of like the policy with like intrinsically versus like extrinsically or like internationally. So like the idea is the problem comes is the interactions between Palestinians and Israel. So that's the bigger issue, is like even though they may be like significantly divided within it, outside they're fucking coming in and fucking their shit up. So that's the bigger problem there, is the degree to which they're able to like coalesce around this one single issue is like, hey, they hate Palestinians, so they're gonna fuck them up. So that's the bigger issue there, and it's not really a significant.
Well, they haven't even passed policy to fuck Palestinians over. They haven't passed policy to do anything.
They've been actively militarily killing them and like
because that's the military. The military
but they control the military.
Do you think that Likud is sending out military orders?
What?
Do you think Likud is sending out military orders, or do you think Likud is doing parliament things and that the military is doing military things?
But what we're talking about the entire system as a whole, right? We're not talking about specific individuals. We're talking about the system and how it's specifically targeting the Palestinians, and the degree to which they're able to pass domestic policy is an issue for itself, but compared to like the aggression against Palestine is the more significant portion there. Portion. Yes, I said words.
So they have it like this is the point. We're talking about domestic policy. Like whether you want to talk about like the ability of the leader of a country to pass foreign policy, and whether like that should be more democratic, then we can have that conversation later. We're talking right now is the entryism of 30 parties into US politics, and whether there should be more of them.
Okay, then why'd you bring up Palestine and Israel?
Why do I bring up Palestine and Israel? Because specifically what you've had there is they haven't been able to pass any domestic policy, and that the person who is the leader by the plurality of the vote isn't the leader anymore. Right? Like the point of bringing this up is to show that like having more parties can be a massive hindrance to the ability to pass policy.
I mean, I think that's a very particularly, I guess, obscure case, as well as the one that's in Belgium. A majority of times you are able to go ahead and form majority governments. And the only reason why in Israel where that hasn't been possible is because it's such a contentious region that like, who wants to really get into coalitions with Netanyahu? It's like there's also like Arab Palestinian parties. They're not going to fucking coalesce with them, and like it's good that,
unfortunately those Arab Palestinian parties have like
I think
very little power there. This has to do more.
They have little power, but
I think
like
Israel is a bad example of this.
Even if but they've been able to form coalitions. They haven't been able to pass policy because they can't come to agreement on that policy.
But they've agreed.
Yeah, but what about all the other?
They've come to an agreement on a policy of like hitting the Palestinians. So.
Yeah, what about all the other parliamentary countries that have formed coalition governments and still pass policy? So
what I'm saying is that the third party government, like the third parties, actively hinder the ability to pass policy. I just brought up the most extreme example to like sort of make a point. But like if you're going to argue that like they're an active like help in passing more consolidated policy, that's literally against the core ethos of what a third party is supposed to do. They're supposed to leverage the small amount of political power they have in being the deciding vote to block policy to try and get their more like radical or whatever version of policy passed. Right?
Yeah, but the problem comes is a consistent theory. Sorry,
that may be it in effect, at least in some cases or in many cases. But the goal of the third party is to represent the people who vote for that third party, right? And one of the problems that we have right now with the two parties. Well, one of the problems that we have right now with the two-party system is that there are a whole lot of people that feel unrepresented by one party and or the other, and they would like to have somebody who could represent them, and a third party would be a better approach.
To be clear, most of the time they feel
of third parties.
So to be clear, most of the time they feel unrepresented because those the politicians they feel like they're voting for can't enact the policy that they're looking to do because a lot of those policies are actually at the local and state levels and they just don't bother to vote in local and state elections.
Okay, but it's not even on the local and state level policies. The problem comes is the degree to which they have to make conciliatory efforts within the Democratic Party.
So here's a good example, right? Like people will consistently cite like, well, I voted in the last federal election and police violence hasn't changed, right? Well, that's a fucking local issue. Of course, police violence hasn't changed, right?
Okay, but we can talk about the national problems in there.
Yeah,
we can talk about how like
some people do care about those national problems, right?
No, but if we're engaging in federal elections, we're talking about the national problems.
Let Kale finish this point, please, Kale.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Like the problem here is that like a lot of the problems that people have that need to be passed are things like healthcare reform. A lot of healthcare reform actually needs to happen at the local level before it can happen at the federal level, right? It's not just like employ Medicare for all, let's go like one for one, right? A lot of these actually need like, for example, like state level hospitals need to be built, right? So for example, like Queensland Health is its own like separate thing that's funded at a state level. Just because we have like a federal level policy, we still have to fund those hospitals at a state level, right? Like people don't engage enough with like local and state politics, and a lot of the problems that they actually point out they want changed by their federal statesmen can't actually be changed by their federal statesmen because they just don't bother to engage with the further down politics of government.
Okay,
so
but that's entirely different.
Okay, sorry, go.
Yeah, those are two different things. Just because somebody doesn't necessarily understand politics doesn't mean that we can't have third parties. Like, sure, yeah, people complain about like things not changing enough, and like to those people, you just have to say you're paying attention to the wrong people here. Like when people say, "Oh, why aren't there more jobs in Vermont since Bernie is such a socialist?" Like, wrong person. Like, why are you? That's not his job. His job's not to pay attention to this level. So like it because people don't understand how their system works doesn't mean that we can't necessarily have additional systems. And then like when it comes to different countries, I know you chose Israel as this like really hyperbolic type of scenario in which you're not able to go ahead and move things forward, but there are a lot of countries with like parliamentary systems in which there's not just two parties that are able to go ahead and form proper coalitions. And it just means that some sides have to make more what's the word?
Concessions.
More concessions to different parties. Sometimes when the conservatives are the ones that are in power in Canada, but the NDP is the which is like the more left-leaning party, is the one that's the minority opposition. The Liberal Party and the NDP actually have to go ahead and work together, and the NDP gets more of the progressive things as opposed to when the Liberals are the ones that are in power, where it's like meh.
Do you mind if I run you down a quick line? Is that okay?
Sure.
3 minutes. Sure. So how do third parties leverage their power?
they by saying that they're not going to vote on anything and things will just be blocked.
Yep. So they block policy as a way to leverage their power to make people change their policies, right? To make it more in line with their party doctrine or closer to their party doctrine,
That's
right?
the way it plays
they definitionally are a hindrance on blocking policy, right? Because they have to leverage that power as a way of passing their policy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, just say like these people can like come up with like these are just combating values, right? Whether you think it's like more valuable to say that that people do it via third parties that they're going to somehow bring them more left, right? That it's worth having less policy passed because that policy is going to be more radical or whatever, right? Versus having more policy passed more often that's maybe less radical, right? These are like the two combating things specifically. It's going to be like on what you value, making the claim that it doesn't hold up democracy and it doesn't hold these policies when this is literally the only tool that third parties have as a way of pushing their policies through seems a little bit strange.
I mean, well, we're already in this hypothetical of which third parties are entirely feasible. So, like, more of the question here is it more important to go ahead and change like the current parties, or is it okay to just have the current system, like going ahead and making the third party? And I would say that it's to me, it seems like kind of it just seems like more work to go ahead and try to change the pure of the fundamentals between behind a party when we could potentially just go ahead and have more people vote on this third party which is an actual feasible thing, and get people to actually vote for things that they're more passionate about. They're actually able to vote for people that they're more interested in rather than just have it. Rather than we're just hoping, okay, let's hope that we can shift the window over a course of time. Why not just have this already feasible third party that has exactly the policies or at least closer to the values that we want now, rather than just like, oh, let's
so in the US, the US is very specific.
I want to point out something.
If we're talking about the US, we're specifically talking about an area has a very unique system. If we are talking about the US, we're not talking about like globally. The US has like primary systems where you can literally just go and vote for the person who has the policies that you want.
So first of all, one thing to make sure that we're all clear on is the premise of this whole thing, which is, as Katarina said, third parties are viable is the premise. We know that in reality, they're not very viable. So all the arguments seem to be focusing right now on the way that third parties currently play out because of the fact that they're not viable. They block legislation because they have no power because they're not viable, right? So let's take this down the road that the premise speaks to, which is that third parties are viable. So therefore, does it make sense in a world where they are viable to reform the existing parties, or to lump more emphasis onto the third parties? This is why
they're viable in other countries.
I don't even know.
They couldn't be viable in the US.
That's the round. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone. To my audience, we're going to do the whole voting thing once again, right? You can be voting for which these individuals gets to go into the final round, okay? So you'll be voting on these people, whoever is most interesting, funniest, whatever it is, most beautiful. And again, we've already established that's Kale-san. But there's other reasons to vote for everyone else too, okay? Yeah, you'll be voting for that. You'll have 5 minutes on the clock to do so. All right, 5 minutes, not 6 minutes. So please vote quickly, and that'll be helpful to us all if you do that. All right. It'd
be nice.
What?
It's been nice being here, by the way. I know I talk the most. By the way, I appreciate everyone being very patient with me. But I know I talk the most, but I held the very, very contrarian position that I know chat doesn't agree with. So I know I'm going. So I hope everyone's had a good time. Thank you very much for being. Thank you very much.
I know that. You'll probably stay along.
Okay. Links in chat. Links in chat. 5 minutes. 5 minutes on the clock. Link is in chat. Vote right now. Don't wait till later. All right. And I thought you were doing a great job, Kyo-san, like really banging up. And you too, Wordy, also doing a great job. Like,
I'm trying.
People need to recognize that you actually do a really good job, though. But yeah, link is in chat, everyone. Please vote right this second. Now is the time to jump on in. Vote for whoever you thought was the most informed, most I don't know, talkative, if that's what you want. Whatever the criteria is. Remember, this person is staying, right? So you're voting for whoever is staying, not who you want to leave. Voting for who you want to keep, not who you want to kick. All right. Now's the time to do it. You have less than 5 minutes on the clock. You guys will talk about whatever.
Nelson, we gotta have a chat sometime, honestly. And please do not talk about arrow theorist. I will jump off a bridge.
Now, of course, love to. Yeah. I'm always happy. I'm happy to talk to anyone about anything. Okay. Yeah, and given the panel environments are significantly hostile, I apologize if I did a little talky thing because sometimes you just got to get in. Everyone here knows that it's just a punch on. All right.
Also, Nacho, you still owe me a conversation.
Dude, I know. I've been slammed. I don't even remember what we were going to talk about anymore. I just
we're going to talk about decommodified healthcare.
Let's do it.
Pick a topic and pick a day, and I'll do it. Okay.
All right.
You know, one thing I just want to say, you know what really makes these panels amazing? The various chats of all the people on the panels.
I have the biggest brain chat, by the way.
Yeah, so if you're just finding this channel, please hit that follow button. We give you a lot of content. Don't want you to miss out on this content. So hit that follow button if you haven't done so already. Oh, I didn't notice Mad Lad rated me like 20 minutes ago. Boy.
Nice.
But anyway, yes, please follow the channel. If you haven't done so yet. We give you a lot of content here. Don't want you to miss out on that content. We have less than 3 minutes left on the clock. Vote right now. Kyo-san is doing his best to rally the troops there in my chat. I love it. I love to see it. I love having Kyo here. The energy you bring to these things, it's great. It's fantastic, honestly. Okay, the energy just ran out. All right, oh
shit! I'm sorry. I was fucking smashing the refresh button on the poll, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was engaging with my chat.
I was expecting to be fucking blown out this round, but apparently not. Apparently my chat's like in my corner. Help me out. Appreciate you, big brain chat.
You do good work. You do good work.
Wish I had a big chat.
But yeah, remember everyone. What?
I was gonna say, I was just gonna say to Keo, I've watched a few of your streams now, but this is the first time I saw your kitty, so that was kind of nice. What's your kitty's name?
My little black kitty's name is Sooty. We picked her up from the shelter about a year ago. The year anniversary just came up. We just kept our cat's shelter names. So Sooty is she's like a 2-year-old. She just gave birth before we picked her up, which was unfortunately couldn't take it. Like all the other kittens had been picked up already, so we couldn't keep with any of our kittens, unfortunately. And I've got another cat there, which you might see very, very rarely. And he's like a big fat long hair cat named Pinocchio. So we've got 2. And they're both very adorable. I love them very much. We've been having a bit of a scare with Pinocchio lately. He got a little bit constipated the last couple of days, so we had to take him to the vet, which is a bit of a scare. But because in male cats, if they're not pooping, it could be urinary tract infection, which could be lethal. So, yeah. And thank you, by the way. Appreciate you tuning in. Then, I hope I wasn't saying anything too edgy when you stopped by. My stream fluctuates from super low energy to screeching at chat. So.
I stopped by when you were making a tofu recipe. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know.
I'm trying different formats lately of doing stuff. I don't know. Next one's gonna be I put it off last week. This week I'm hoping when I get paid I can afford to buy a fuck ton of beers and we just try a whole bunch of different Aussie beers, craft beers on stream and just get really plastered.
Only one option.
Oh no, I've dropped to nearly the bottom.
I'm absolutely getting to Foster's, by the way. That's one beer that's absolutely on there. Wait, I'm going to put a short list of beers on. We're going to go to Dan Murphy's in an IRL stream, and I'm going to put a short list up, and chat can pick.
Nachos ahead of me.
Oh my! Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't do that.
Sorry. Sorry. My bad.
But Kyo-san,
I didn't realize I still had it on mute.
Kyo-san, it's Foster's though. That's the only one. That's what we know.
That's the one I'll have to have because I haven't had Foster's yet. I've heard it's pretty good.
But I've actually heard it's. I don't know. Actually, I don't drink, so I have no idea. I've heard it's actually pretty bad, but I don't know. Nacho, you were a beer drinker?
I am.
Okay, so what are your opinions on Foster? I have none.
Oh, I like Foster's.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Foster's is pretty good, man.
So
sorry, I was yelling at chat to vote for me. So
okay, so we.
Okay, so if I may address one thing, Bad Hoss. First off, I never said that capitalist economies don't dominate the majority of the world. What I said was there are few specific examples where socialist economies do exist, like the Zapatistas. So
great. All right, so the votes are in. The votes are in, and it's close. Oh man, neck and neck we're seeing here, neck and neck. All right. Among the finals, right, at the top, where he belongs, Kyo-san. There we go. Number one.
Kyo-san gets off on being a contrarian. He gets off on being a contrarian.
Absolutely do.
It's just the accent. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I was under no illusion of taking any spot from Catarana today. We were literally, I think it was last round. There was like 5 minutes where I didn't say anything, where me and my chat were just saying Catarana's so cool. We like Catarana so much. This is a Catarana sip chat. So like the fact that I was able to overtake her today was is very nice.
I want Kyo-san tested. I think I saw him shooting up kangaroo testosterone in the locker room. Okay,
but
so I'm just putting that out there.
Then why is his brain still working?
It's a possibility. Katarana is in second though. So and by my screen, she's only down by 1 vote. So I'm almost there. Still in the running there. On the other end of things, okay. All right, Wordy. I don't know, but I think you're great. I want you to know.
Hey, look, I'm still new, so you just got to give them time. That's all. They got to warm up to me.
All right, I'm warmed up.
I made it. I made it 3 rounds. All right, I made it 3 fucking rounds.
Okay. All right. And then Zonia will be joining him at the bottom there. All right. Now the two of you will be begging just Kyo-san. All right. Just the beardiest of us all. You'll be begging him to stay. All right. So now is your opportunity. 30 seconds to each of you to make Kyo. I don't know. Make your dreams come true. So Zonia, you first.
Okay. So let's see. Best way to beg. I'm thinking the kitty cat. I love your kitty cat. Very cute. I have 3 kitty cats of my own. All 3 of them elderly kitties. So I'm taking this angle. I'm working through the heartstrings with this angle. 3 elderly kitties, and I care for one of them on a daily basis because she needs constant help, unfortunately. But very adorable little kids, and I appreciate your little kids as well.
Gotcha. All right. On the other end, we have Wordy. Wordy, please.
Kyo-san, I'm just going to tell you real quick. You believe that third parties only exist to detract from the votes of the majority parties here? Keep me in, and I can take away from the votes by making good arguments. Take away from the votes, maybe increase your chances of winning.
Oh, all right. That's a pretty good one. All right, so Kill, you'll be voting. Which one is going to stay? You can decide whatever criteria is to do that. Maybe content is one, or that's a pretty good one. Or whatever. But yeah, sending me that. Oh my God, Leonardo actually. For fuck's sakes. Oh,
what is he looking up?
Look at his screen. Oh boy,
I can't see it.
All right. Okay.
I hope everyone saw that. It was right and fair.
Yeah, I guess it was. He did the coin flip. It was. You could see it on. Are you not looking at StreamYard? Wordy? It was. Don't worry about it. Never mind. Okay. Well, where do you staying? People saw on the screen. Where do you staying?
Dude, 4 rounds. Let's go.
All right. Look, he's making it. He's making it happen. Making it happen. One day, 1 vote at a time. All right. So Zonia, thank you for being so kind as to join us. On this day, you made it pretty far for your first time. Tell the world about yourself.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Wordy. And so for me, let's see. I'm a gamer. I mostly do be lighthearted kind of stuff, not too much serious subject matter. You can find me at Twitch, Zonia Live, 1 word. And I do pretty regular streams, a few days a week. I'm also creating a new channel right now where I'm going to be doing more serious subject matter, real world kind of stuff, politics, etc. So that's going to be coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. Also follow me at Twitch at Stotch, STOTCH. And everybody here, it's been great going on with this panel with you guys. I really enjoyed it. This has been a great opportunity for me. I'm hoping that I made a bit of an impression. And you guys kicked a lot of butt, so I don't mind being kicked out at this moment. And I lasted for 4 rounds, so that's cool.
All right.
So you all take care. Thank you.
Have a good one as well. Thanks for joining us. Okay. All right. So we are in our final round. Yes, it's happening. It's happening. This is it. All right. Whoever wins this round will be the champion. Will be the stream queen. Isn't it so exciting? American Nacho. He always makes it to the last. I feel like every time you've been here, you've made it to the last round.
Or I go in the first. It's either go to the last round or go in the first round. That's the 2 times. And it was Hans. He saw me as a threat. He was terrified. So
okay, yeah.
He knew I was coming after the crown. So
makes sense. All right. Well, maybe once again, maybe you'll be the first conservative to make it. We hope and pray. So, final topic. Should the Biden administration institute a program to forgive all unpaid rent if the cause was pandemic related? 15 minutes left on the clock. Go in.
No. But with caveats. I believe quite a few people should have their rent forgiven. I think people that make beyond under a certain threshold should, but when we say all, it really assumes all, and I don't think, like, let's say millionaires, people that live in $10 million houses that didn't pay their rent, I don't think that should be forgiven. But I do think people that a rent made up, let's say 60% of their expenses, I definitely think it should be forgiven. So I would say some people it should be forgiven, not everybody.
Yeah, I'm generally.
I don't know.
I'm generally of the same mind, because the reality is, poor people have to pay so much more proportionally to be able to afford the basic necessities, like living at a rent home. And when they lost their job, they weren't able to afford it in any single way, and they couldn't get a job, so they weren't even able to pay it off then. And so basically, what you're saying is, hey, it's not your fault, but we're going to still fuck you over anyway. So the reality is, not through any fault of their own, they're still getting fucked. So as a whole, I generally think that's pretty fucking bad. The people who are rich, though, they have enough money, they can afford to pay off whatever rent they need. Fine.
So probably it's so in my opinion, right? If you've got people who paid their rent, who earn the same amount of money as people who didn't in similar areas, right? And they made different decisions to do with what their money. In part, that's up to them, right? And I don't want to punish people who chose to pay their rent and went and ate rice instead of people who went out and got fucking Maccas every day instead of paying for rent, right? So what I argue is, instead of forgiving rent, probably just give direct cash payments. Look at how much the differential is in the average rent, right? And you can just you have the utility of the dollar that's going to differentiate between these things. So you're going to have rich people aren't going to care that much about $1,000, but poor people can knock it straight off their rent. There are already rent forgiveness programs in effect. These were put through under Trump, and were extended by Biden. But I think the best way to do it, to reward people who paid off their rent and took L's elsewhere, and to not so we don't punish those people for making those choices with their money, and so we can help people who chose to make other choices with their money during the pandemic and chose not to pay rent. We just give direct cash stimmy instead, and not just forgive loans, because it's not just the case that it's not just there were different reasons for people didn't pay back their rent.
Wait, just asking
that's
for
what
the.
I'm trying to figure out. How are we going to judge who just mismanaged? Because there was a lot of fucking money that went out.
We just give cash. We just give cash stimmy, so people can people who didn't pay the rent can pay off their back paid rent with that cash stimmy, and people who did pay off their rent can enjoy the cash stimmy.
Okay, but the problem comes is the feasibility.
Actually,
of that. Because what we've done is we've done these stimulus checks that have paid off the rent, but the reality is, even when we push the amount we think is decent, it doesn't really cover all the expenses that people are going to have. When you look at all the stimulus checks that have passed, they don't cover a vast majority of how much people have to afford for their rent itself. So that's a problem, because it's not really feasible, because one, you're going to have significant barriers politically, and then two is it doesn't even whatever label you can say you're going to put $1 million, but even then you can't guarantee it's going to happen.
So here's an example of
even though I'm generally
clarifying question.
Right, here's a good example of where we wouldn't want to have it. Just like just before that, is like you might have people who have like 3 or 4 properties who didn't have people who pay them off, who are like obviously wealthy enough to have 3 or 4 properties, who we probably don't want to just like give all the money in basically like a negative gear, like their 4 properties, because they're fucking like rent seeking on those properties, right? I think that's why I feel
we've already talked about that. Katarana specifically said how she says there's a threshold, right? We set a threshold according to proportion to like people's like income and like how wealthy we are. We can set those standards. We already set those standards in tax rates. We can very much set those standards in rent itself.
So there's like other. Oh, sorry, go. I feel like I've interrupted.
So for the one that you guys are talking about, like the one that Trump passed and everything, was that actually a true forgiveness, or was that like a kick the can down the street and you have to, eventually pay it all back, or was it a true forgiveness?
Moratoriums, I think, generally don't.
No, it wasn't just a moratorium. There was I'd have to pull up the bill, but it was you apply. It was like it went through the state, and you had to apply through through your landlord or something. The bill wasn't the greatest. It was a bit convoluted, but there were avenues for people who were like low income to have a significant amount of their debt like forgiven. Like the reason why I went through the land was because like if you just like get money put on your debt, there could be like other things that go on. They
don't count about the executive order for the moratorium.
No, it's not the moratorium. I can pull up the exact bill if you want.
All right, cool. Because I would want to look at that.
Yeah, I would have to honestly go with what Kiyosan said, because I'm someone who worked through the entire fucking coronavirus when I could have just fucking like sat on my ass and taken unemployment and got probably a shit ton of fucking money because of the job that I was doing before the lockdown, and so like I would like to some degree I like the idea that you get this cash stimmy and then those who actually paid their fucking rent and aren't about to get evicted because they've just been not paying it this whole time get a little extra bonus.
So Nacho, so your statement that you were working, I also worked. I was a dietary aide working like by myself for like 2 whole weeks during the pandemic. So the thing is though, like even though I was able to work this and like I live in my parents' home, so like there's a level like they have jobs in themselves too that they aren't cut off. But the reality is a large majority of jobs themselves wasn't because they weren't working or choosing to work. It's because they weren't given the ability to work. Businesses were shut down, restaurants were shut down, access to these basic jobs.
True, but there was also a ton of money that went out as a result of that. Like you got basically like 75% of your of whatever you were making plus an extra 600 on top for like the entire duration. So we saw like the explosion in Twitch of like people just sitting on their asses and just
no, people were forced to stay home, so they naturally went to Twitch because it's a way to like pass the time. So what happened? It's like the stimulus checks are like not even significant. Like a large majority of apartments are like above like at least what the stimulus checks are like. There's like 1,400 and such. Like the reality is like how much you have to cover per monthly. Like maybe the stimulus checks covers it once, but like as a whole, the stimulus checks just don't cover like rent itself. They didn't.
But the stimulus checks plus you're getting your unemployment plus an extra $600 on top of that.
On average,
I feel like the majority of people were probably getting the same, or I think it was more than. The majority of people were getting paid more than they were before the lockdown.
So most of these places were that are up for evictions. It's like a 6-month-old map that I remember seeing. I could probably pull it back up. But like most of those were in like rural areas. I think it was like Arizona was like 60% evictions. It's not like a small amount of people that didn't do this. It was like a very, very large. Like the majority of people in a lot of places, in a lot of states, are behind on their rent and would be up for eviction if the moratorium ended, to be clear.
Yeah, so I think honestly that it's unfortunate that this even has to be a conversation because I do believe just like a lot of other places we're doing that there should have been just checks given out on a consistent basis so that there was not even like a threat of eviction for people that make under certain threshold. For example, like if you make under $38,000 in Canada, let's say, like additionally, then you would have been qualifying for the $2,000 a month stimulus checks, in which case there wouldn't be a conversation because, if you're still making money and paying off your rent, you just get to go ahead and pocket some of it. Whereas, if you didn't have a job during that time, you get to pay off your bills. So I definitely, I see where the issue comes up of, hey, people did, potentially miss out on a lot of things that they would have wanted to pay for, such as, some dinners that they didn't get to go ahead and get takeout for. Instead, they put 100% of, their paychecks towards utilities, which is definitely very amicable. So I 100% agree that it would be a lot better for everybody that was underneath a certain threshold to just go ahead and receive a check. But of course, yeah, my caveat still stands that not everybody should be receiving a check. And I think that this should have been something that could have been given out across the board. The way it was done in Canada is if you made 50% less than what you were supposed to be making, then you qualify. So you don't need to lose your job. If you have reduced hours by 50%, then you can go ahead and qualify for this additional money, which I think is definitely a better way of going about this.
So
yeah, I want to
yeah.
counteract one specific point first. So I just linked in the chat is the U.S. Department of Labor's average to like 12-month from like January to like all the way leading to like April 30th, and it looks from January it was $370 weekly benefit to $316 at the end of April. So the reality is the idea like unemployment is covering your ability to live itself is really not. Yeah, like
that's not paying for anybody unless they live like in
like that.
Yeah,
that maybe covers a part of like college, but like not really.
So just like a note on means testing, right? Because that's what we're doing, means testing. Is that like what we wouldn't want to do is probably miss people who need it because like maybe they had like a certain amount of income because they took in a lot of income from government checks. So like obviously you had like a 6-month period there where you had people getting like 600 a week or 600 a fortnight, I think, right? Or it was like 1,600. It was quite a lot. 2,000. It was 2,000. 2,000 a fortnight, which is like not fuck around money, and that's gonna like reflect on your tax return, and sometimes you can miss that, right? So here's a good example, like anecdote Andy coming in. There was a woman who was awarded a sexual harassment suit of $1 million from their employer, right? They got a fair bit amount from the lawsuit, and as such, over the last year, it looks like they'd made $1 million. However, because they'd lost their job and they weren't earning a lot of money beforehand, and then had to use some of that money to back pay the lawyers and a lot of this other stuff, right? She wasn't like super well off, and this person missed out on a lot of like stimulus money, on a lot of like unemployment checks, because when they looked at their like tax file, what they saw was this person earned $1 million over the last year. They're sweet, right? So what we wouldn't want to do is like punish people, for example, who won cases against their bosses for like sexual harassment lawsuits. I feel like it's easier just to sort it out by utility of the dollar and just give the cash out to everyone and have that money just move around the economy and hopefully pay back up on people's rents.
Yeah, so the problem there is always that, well, first of all, if we do it the way that the Canadian system worked, I got some scholarship money, but I was still able to go ahead and qualify for, the money because any form of cash flow into my bank account isn't necessarily employment income. So like just don't have that be used against people. But additionally, I don't think everyone should just go ahead and get it because whereas we go ahead and give money to people that are lower income, it goes directly back into the economy. Whereas if you were to just go ahead and give everybody, people that are higher income, money does not go back into the economy, it goes into investments and other types of stuff. So
investments still go back in the economy, though, to be clear. So those investments usually either go back into buying new equipment for those businesses to be more productive, or they go into stock buybacks, which then go move around to other businesses who can use to be more productive. Like investment is still like economy stimulus.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily stimulate the economy as, let's say, quickly as when you go ahead and give it to people with under a certain threshold, because going ahead and paying for the basic utilities will very much go ahead and, pay for things such as more grocery jobs, etc. Whereas if you go ahead and give it.
So maybe also what about like if we're doing this, everybody wants to say fuck landlords, I'm sure, but like what if a lot of these people who are like behind on their rents and get this check and they're just like, fuck it, we're gonna move out anyways because this check is only gonna cover like part of it, we're still gonna owe like a couple $100, so
well
we'll just move.
We'll have like legal action there, right? Like landlords have like legal action they can take.
Yeah,
so like maybe you would have to have like them filling out some form for like a voucher for the rent. I don't know how the fuck like we would get this.
Okay,
I don't know how we would target it in a way that wouldn't be like damning some and You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd rather not talk. So, like, here's my opinion: is like let taxation be taxation and do taxation things, and let welfare be welfare and do welfare things. Right? We can recapture that money at the top end by like having like capital gains taxes if they're going to be like frequency on trading, by having like taxation at the highest percent in terms of like progressive taxes, and grab that money back that way, and then have the poor people obviously with like the lower taxation, lower progressive taxes, for example, right? Let that money welfare just like stimulate the economy. You can let taxes be taxes and welfare be welfare.
Yeah, so I think something I wanted to talk about specifically is I'm either like too fucking tired or too fucking stupid. And we were talking about how we can like make the distinctions between people who are like receiving like the $1 million versus like people who are having like consistent high performance in terms of income gain. Then like we could derive like statistics basically. Like we take all their data, right? We have all their documents, and then from there we could look at like bursts and averages, and from there we can derive like
yeah, you'd have to localize that.
Yeah, you would have to localize it, but that's a way we can deal with that. Like, it's not just on the federal level. This is needing on a state and local level as well.
Yeah, but you could take the federal money and have the states like handle that, like handle the handout, and have the states still give that in cash, right?
Yeah,
because
I agree with you.
Whether you do it as forgiveness, you're still going to have to do it like with the states, because the states are going to have to be able to tell you like what goes where.
Yeah, we just got to make sure like if the federal government is going to do this, we'd have to like basically pressure them to still follow it, because the states themselves, even though like working on a local level is good, the problem comes is like states, they have their own interests, and if you don't have like some level of standardization, they're either going to fuck over the people. So yeah.
Okay. And that is the round. That's the final round. We are going to do our final bout of well, it's not an elimination round. This is the round where you decide who is the winner. So I will be putting a link in chat, and you'll be voting in that poll and voting for whatever reason that you'd want, whatever criteria you like to pick, right? But you'll be voting for which of these individuals actually wins the whole competition, becomes the stream queen. It's all up to you, the audience, right? So yeah, now's the time to do it. You'll have 5 minutes on the clock once again, all right? And no complaints afterwards, please. 5 minutes on the clock. But before we do that, I want to give 30 seconds to each of these individuals for a final reason as to why you should vote for them. All right, we'll start with Wordy. Wordy, come on.
You want to hear this? You want to hear the real statement? Is the fact is I am working on this level, on such levels of sleep deprivation. I've started school. I've been working. I don't sleep that much in the begin with, and so me working and competing on this level with Kyo-san shows I am very capable. If you want to see me at my full energy, vote for me to make me the stream queen. So yeah.
Okay. All right. American Nacho.
All right. So we obviously didn't do too great in the later round, but a lot of people were fucking talking. I came into this like last fucking minute. Okay, I'm here to win it. I want to be the first official righty princess queen of the stream. All right. I'm tired of coming in second. We got to come back. We got to come back and get a double win. Okay. So vote for me. All right, we'll get some more of a heads up. We'll get some better topics, and we'll come back in this bitch and win it again. All right, love you guys.
I don't remember you coming in second before.
I call it second. All right, if I make it to the end, that's second for me. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just saying. I don't remember the tally being that, but okay, fair enough. Next, we'll go to Kyo. Why should you be stream queen once again?
So I'm obviously the first two-time stream queen, okay? I made history on the Prime Royale by becoming the first two-time, right? With your energy, with your power, chat, we could become the three-time. Would you believe it? We'd be making history again. And guess what? Everyone else here, they're going to talk about me. They're going to juxtapose themselves against me, right? I am the benchmark. Right? You can jump up. I'm 166 centimeters, but I still tower over every single one of you intellectually. You can try and reach me. You can grab for me all you want. You know it's true. I'm the best.
Did you ever learn to count?
Vote for me because I'm the best.
Did you ever learn to count?
Counting's for the weak. Counting's for the climbers.
So he can't count. So he only knows it's a 1, not 2.
Okay. Anyway. Hopefully Katarana can match that level of energy. Katarana, you have not been Stream Queen before, but you've been quite close. You've been extremely close to it. Katarana, why should these kind people make that dream come true?
Chat, I just say vote for whoever you thought was the most rhetorically effective. I'm not a big fan of popularity contests, so if you think I was the most rhetorically effective, vote for me. And if you don't have to vote for me. I'm just happy that you came.
Oh man,
Thank
that
you.
is not winner speak. All right, anyway, we will go for it. Okay, so we're gonna put the link in chat. You will have 5 minutes on the clock to vote. This is for the winner. The winner. Do it now. Don't do it later. 5 minutes. There we go. The link is in chat. The link is in chat. 5 minutes.
Vote for anarcho-communism.
On the clock. Let's do it. If you're just arriving here, please follow the channel. We'd love to have you, just like Rachel Reduces, who just followed us. Thank you so much. Follow the channel right this moment. We give you a lot of content, content, and after this, there's still more content. Just so you know, like we'll pick a winner here, but we'll go on to our open welcome panel right afterwards. We still have more for you, so no need to leave, no need to go anywhere. Stick right here, and we'll have an additional panel right after this. All right, so stick around for that. Yes, but the link is in chat. Vote right now. You can see the timer at the top of the screen there. When it counts down, that's when I'm going to refresh, right? If you did not vote by then, that is your problem, not my problem. And it's going to be their problems, because maybe because of you, someone here did not make it. So we have 4 incredible individuals. Make your choice right this second. Please vote. The link is in chat. Okay. How you all feeling?
Feeling good, man. We're having an encore rock band concert after this. All right, that's how confident I am. Okay.
I
got faith, man. I'm not even gonna look.
I want food. I need food. I'm not only hungry, but I'm also tired. So like, I'm working on the model of starvation and deprivation to success, I guess.
Anyone else?
Okay, so I'm feeling good. I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a good run. If I lose to Katarana tonight, it'll be a worthy foe to lose to. That's all I'll say. Okay.
There's other people here. We
can win
lose
for
to
everybody.
Anybody else?
You're the one neck and neck with me right now. Okay, let's be real.
A loss for Kyosen is a win for everybody.
But I'm excited because even if I lose, I get to share something to donate to, and that's honestly my only purpose. I just go into random like panels now, just being like, okay, donate to this. Have a nice day. Bye.
I'm also awarding myself with most base take of the night. All right. If we just give everybody a public option who's an organ donor, easy, problem solved. Okay. So take that for what you will, chat.
To be fair, I thought I had one with the rape cadaver, but you know, sorry, go Cat.
No, I'm saying we should take away some of Nacho's points from making that as a potential thing. You can only get universal health care if you're an organ donor.
No, not only, but it's just to entice. Okay, come on. We need first of all, we need more organ donors, and second of all, we got to take care of the organs. Okay, so we want them to be healthy and organ donors, right?
American.
That way they don't get turned down.
Here's your option now. Since you're talking about free healthcare, what you do is take down that flag and become a communist with me.
Oh fuck no.
Hey, it's okay. We've made progress with you. We can get you farther.
I think I'm close enough to the sun.
No. You're never close enough to the sun. As a queer person, you always have to be in the center of the sun.
Oh god.
You have to burn like they did in 1400s.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where that came from. Everyone, vote right now. You have 90 seconds left on the clock to vote. Hurry up. This is the for all the marbles. All right, all of them, every single one. No marbles left behind. This will decide who is the winner. So vote right this second. Less than 90 seconds left on the clock. Now I'll take the opportunity to vote for one of these incredible people, right? Who've given you so much entertainment. So make one of their dreams come true. Make it so that Kyo-san can boast for. Oh god, he's gonna hang this over all everyone's head for a long time. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, if it comes to this, right, there'll be like immense pleasure in like snatching cat out from like the claws of victory. There'd be like some fun there, you know. But also being 3-time. But I do like the ring of 2-time, so I'm really conflicted, you know.
How about you just be
holding
honest?
first 3-time, right? I just own the Hall of Fame at that point. Ain't no one be catching me. Hans could keep his fucking mouth shut for a while, right?
Well, Hans naturally only can speak through his muscles, so. And I can say this because I love Hans.
No, man. But look, we know which one is the most built of those two individuals. All right, Kill Sean. Let him know. Show him. All right. Who's number one? There we go. Right there.
Look at these. Look at these fucking lats.
Right there.
Look at these lats, boys and girls.
Oh man.
You don't fucking get that from sitting on your ass, all right?
No, you get that from only having one brain cell.
Oh man. Okay. All right. The refresh is in. The refresh is in. If your vote's not in, that's your problem, not my problem. All right. So we are going to be deciding who is the stream queen. Oh boy, here we go. All right. From the bottom. God damn it. Wordy, I think you're like, this shows massive improvement.
Hey, I made it all the way to the end, okay? I am proud of myself.
I'm proud of you too. I'm honestly proud of you too. You've done a lot, all right? You've been making your way up the ranks. All right. Nice work, friend. Nice work.
Look, I'm already working on the premises. People already hate me because I'm a communist, so like I'm taking what I can get.
Okay, next. American Nacho. Like,
damn it.
Okay, this is 3. This is third. Not second. You've done a great job.
I want the paperwork on the voting machines, okay? Dominion voting systems.
It might be bamboo in the
There's bamboo in the on the ballots, man. We need to get some pandas over to test out this paper ballots, man.
Oh boy. But yeah, thank you, American Nacho, for coming through and joining us once again. Especially again, for, like, last minute, you like helped us out, so it means a lot. So good work. Next, we will decide a winner, right? Because amazing. So our runner-up, right? This person has done an incredible job. By both these individuals have done an incredible job here, right? And we're so happy that the both of them have been so kind to join us, right? But there can only be one winner, right? Can only be one winner, and there can be the number one loser, and that will be Killson, because right now Katarana is the stream queen.
Look at it. Look at that. Look at that. We're tired. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about when I refresh. I can put it up on the screen.
Ready. Look at
when
that.
I refresh. You refresh. So you have something in common with your buddy. Okay. No, we can do it. I'll do the same thing. All right. Apparently you and Hans, right, have the same mindset. Okay, I can put it up on the screen. All right, so let's do this. All right.
It's called "We're Sore Loser Market Socialists."
That's what it sounds like.
We all know, we can all see at this point, Prime clearly went to the inspect element and changed the number. I come here and I work hard, right? I didn't see at any point Katarana ahead of me.
I'm seeing 30 for Kyosan.
Hold on, did it share? Oh, hold on, let me here we go. Up. It's, come on, go share, for fuck's sakes. Is it sharing? It's not sharing yet. Hold on.
Fine. It's your show. You could give the award to whoever you want. It's fine.
I know. Hold on. It's just, hold on. I'm waiting for this thing to share. Oh fuck! That's not what I wanted. Where's this? God damn it! All right, hold on. Let me try the screen share.
Inspect element change backspace.
Hold on. I'll try it again. Hold on. And all right, so we choose this one.
I'll much like Al Gore to George Bush in Florida, right?
Okay.
I'll happily,
Okay.
I'll concede
All right,
for
there
the
it is.
sake of democracy.
There it is.
But
Right
understand
there on
that
your
you've stolen
screen.
from under my
On
nose.
your screen, right there. Katarana, right? Being up by 1 vote. I don't know what to tell you, right? And I don't tell the audience.
Al
Look,
Gore. That's
you
all I'm gonna say is I'm Al
afterwards.
Gore.
I said you had 5 minutes, not 6 minutes, not 5 minutes and 1 second, right? 5 minutes. This is what happens. Learn your fucking lesson. Get those votes in quick. How many times I gotta tell you, all right? Whose fault is this? Not my fault. It's your fault. So I don't know what to tell you. Look, it is what it is, all right? But you and your buddy Hans, right? Go complain on Twitter about this.
You see, it's all muscles and no brain.
So, Katarana, as the rightful stream queen, all right? Let's make sure everyone knows, as the rightful stream queen, please take a victory lap. Let the world know. And this is what a winner looks like.
The winner looks like a girl wearing a Jewish space laser pin. Yeah.
Do you want to say anything to the audience, like about this victory?
Yeah, I want to say that you should donate to Universal Discourse's GoFundMe because she got like a port attack and now she doesn't have access to food.
What does a port attack mean? I actually don't know what that means.
I don't know either, but it sounds bad. So I would like it if we go ahead and donate to her because, yeah, she like ran out of food stamps and stuff. So it would be nice if she could have food.
Put the link in chat for people.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Of course. I will drop that. And that's honestly the main reason why I wanted to win anything was just because I wanted to share that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being so sweet. All right. Awesome. Well, there we go. There we go. All right. That's what a winner looks like over there next to her. That's what a sore loser looks like. All right. So, I'll give you all an outro. And to my honest, of course, after this, we are going to our open walk-on panel. The content does not end. All right. So we have more coming for you. Next, Wordy, an outro from you.
Alrighty. So, you want to know to come real progress? You got to be able to commit. And as a whole, I am committed to progress and democracy for all. There's no milquetoast. There's no electoralism. I believe the workers taking control and fighting for their rights. That is what I believe in. And I hope to demonstrate it in the future. And I'm going to keep coming until I get that stream clean. I want one at least under my belt. And if I can get it, I will be a happy person.
Okay. Thanks so much. Next, American Nacho.
I'll be back in stronger numbers next time. Okay. I want to thank you guys though. The communities, all the communities, man. Like the Twitch politics has been really a good thing for me, just in general. Like it's helped me be more introspective in like analyzing like my positions and like why I believe the things that I believe, etc. So that's been a really positive and fun experience for me to go through that and get a little bit more educated on some things in my own time as a result of being on a lot of these panels. So Prime, everything you're doing, keep it up. It's really awesome. I'm gonna go sip my Depresso Espresso and play some Rock Band. If any of you guys want to come and hang out, you're more than welcome. We've had a really awesome month, and just in this month, I think we've got like plus 200 follows, and just in like this past week or 2 weeks, I think we got like plus 100, and we had a awesome like. We did Rock Band last night, but we're gonna do it an encore again tonight because it was a big success last night. So we're just gonna go hang out and party. All right.
Okay.
I love you guys. You're all amazing human beings.
Next, we have Kyo-san. Kyo-san not showing his best side today, but we still love him. Kyo-san, give yourself an outro.
So I just want to thank every one of the panelists for coming on tonight. All very intelligent. We had some lovely discussions. It was like we yelled at times, but that's because that's the way panels are. But it was just these are good topics, good discussions. Really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you for having me on. As always, Prime, always love coming to do these things with you. please go and follow Katarana's link to donate to Universal Discourse. I've spoken to Universal Discourse a couple of times. They're a lovely human being. So please go and fund for them. I am dead broke, or I would be doing so myself right now. So I will be trying to leverage my influence to do so to make everyone donate in my stead. So that goes out to my chat. I will copy this link into my chat as well. I've also put my link tree up with all my socials. So thank you, Kat. Glad. I've put a link tree up with all my socials, so you can follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube. It's CoSignAU on all platforms. So if you enjoyed my takes tonight, we're going to keep on going over on my channel. We're going to look at Matthew Infidel's take on abortion and go over some philosophy and have some discussion about that. If that sounds fun to you, I'm going to yoink some of your viewers, Prime. If not, that's cool. If there's anything, I hope that the discussion afterwards go well. If there's anything that comes up that involves any of my takes, please feel free to tag me and I will come on and yell at people on your open panel.
And we'll love it because we always love having our good friend Kill around. And finally, yes, it's her. I know, right? Like, I'm excited too, just to hear her voice once again, because this is our stream queen, right? Right here, Katarana, back at it. Katarana, please tell the audience about yourself, where they can find a champion.
You can find me donating to Universal Discourse's GoFundMe. I'll be there, just hanging out, just straight donating, you know? So, like, if you want to come and engage with me, I hear that there's a GoFundMe link to do that. Other than that, I have all the social medias. I'll be dropping my link tree in chat. Thank you for having me. We're having another rhetorical debate coming up either tomorrow or Monday. It will be another one of the parliamentary style debates. So if you want to come to a debate and not have a lot of yelling, which is really good for us neurodivergent people that don't like a lot of yelling, please come and check my Twitch. Yay!
All right.
But I'm pretty sure I am not neurotypical and I like yelling at people.
That's a lot of fun. Hey,
yelling at people's fine, like the decibels.
Everyone's link is in chat, so go and check them out. Also, that GoFundMe link, who's been spamming it, yes, I'll help our good friend Universal Discourse, who's been a good friend of the channel. She's one of the first female guests that we had. I think she was literally the second female guest we ever had. And yeah, she's been the kind supporter of this community. So let's support her in her time of need. Yes, I'll help out our good friend. A really good friend, Universal Discourse. Thank you so much. All right, we are going to an open walk-on panel. Right after this, of course, we always have more content, right? Any of these beautiful people can join, right? But if not, that's okay. Thank you for spending your time, your energy, your passion, and your knowledge with my community. I know they appreciate it just as much as I do. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.